Okay. Hello. Give me 1 second, y'all. Sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place today. I do apologize for the wait. Sorry about this. I don't even have music playing. Holy crap, I'm all messed up. Hold on. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Sorry. As you can probably see here, I'm doing some work. um, I'm in the middle of a Senge video here. As you can see, I'm like getting stuff compiled for it. So, if you just tuned in, I am gonna be, you kind of got a little sneak glimpse of what we're gonna be, or what a video is gonna be coming out here a little bit later. So, there's that. But, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm getting everything set up. Music. I don't even have my God, bro. Sorry. Today's been weird. I've been having to do a whole bunch of things. Where did I put my freaking glasses, bro? Okay, hold on. I might have to go run downstairs to get my glasses, but hold on. Let me get some music up playing. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up a tweet for you guys. I do want to start off with talking about what some potential Bulls news we could have today. I will talk about the Trey Jones contract being official, so that's important. We got the details of the Trey Jones contract, which I think is very big. Bulls Summer League is coming up here. Bulls play on the 11th. That's their first game, so we'll talk about that briefly. But then we gotta talk about this whole, like, hey, the Utah Jazz have they made a pretty massive deal today with the LA Clippers. We'll talk about that trade as a whole, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what actually does happen off that trade. I won't lie, my initial reaction was just like, yikes, I don't like this for the Clippers, really, but I think overall they'll be probably okay, for what we're hearing, with all the potential moves that they have coming here, especially if Beal does get bought out. I do think it's going to be pretty interesting. And so, I mean, Clippers still have some money to spend that they can spend here, so I'm going to be interested to see what they do. But off of that deal, we got some sort of Bulls news that some Bulls content creators have, or I guess some Bulls content creators I should say have kind of made it news. If you're wondering what I personally think of this, I don't really think this is much news. But I do think that it's also just because, like, I look at the salary stuff, like, every day. So, like, in my head, it's maybe not news. But for other people, they're probably thinking, hey, like, is this actually a legit possibility? But I don't blame people for thinking like this, by the way. Like, I'm not here to, like, say, like, oh, you're stupid or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Like, I think this is, like, a legit question to ask. But I do think that something like this, though, it's more important for some Bulls content creators. Like, some people want to get this out as news and, like, try to bring it back to the Bulls, when, like, at least in my opinion, the way I looked at it, I'm like, I don't really think this goes back to the Bulls that much. There is some tweets, like Will Gottlieb, for example, did kind of tweet about, like, hey, maybe the Jazz can become a restricted free agency option for guys like Kuminga, guys like Giddey. And it's definitely interesting to kind of think about it, but I kind of want to talk about this entire thing right off the bat, because I want to break it down for you guys, like, bit by bit. And we're talking about like, heavy contract stuff, and, like, does this actually give Josh Giddey a way to potentially get a contract here to use as leverage to get a better contract from the Bulls? Because I do think that is right now the biggest talk of the town when it comes to this Bulls and free agency and everything that's going on right now when it comes to the Bulls. Like, this has been kind of the big thing, and a lot of people are just kind of questioning, like, hey, like, when is this Giddey contract going to get done? Does Giddey actually have leverage, or are the Bulls just going to continue just holding out on him and trying to figure out if they can just get a lower contract from him? And some people still try to argue that Giddey has leverage, but If you're wondering, at least in my opinion, this restricted free agency has gone exactly the way I thought it would. When it comes to Josh Giddey and the other restricted free agents on this market, and Cam Thomas, Kuminga, Quentin Grimes, like all these guys have kind of gotten the same treatment, and it's not that shocking to me. And I do think that we need to kind of break down, like, hey, is this actually a thing? Where can the Utah Jazz actually become a team that could be a team that Giddey can maybe get a contract from to use as leverage to get a better contract from the Bulls here, or try to, convince the Bulls to give him more money. So we're going to break this down first and foremost. If you've not already hit the like button on the stream, please do. Helps me out a lot. Thank you guys for all tuning in. First and foremost, though, I need to go look for my glasses. I'm a little bit all just kind of over the place right now, so I do apologize. So go ahead and read this, and I'll be right back. Sorry about this. I do apologize. One second. Oh, wait. Okay, no. Okay, I thought my glasses... Never mind. My glasses are right here, and I'm losing my mind. Sorry. I'm happy they're right here. Okay. Okay. All right, we're officially in business, y'all. Well, welcome in. What's going on, Tyler? Appreciate you being here. What's going on, Wooditch? Like others have said, Ainge is making moves just to make moves. Ainge is actually what they're doing right now. I don't hate it, but I'm not a person that's necessarily in love with what they're doing right now, if that makes any sense. I'm not exactly loving what what the Utah Jazz are exactly doing, but I will say that it seems like they have a plan that I can kind of visualize, and I give them credit for at least that. Does that mean that, oh, hey, it's gonna all work out? I don't know. The Utah Jazz are a weird organization. Ainge is also weird with how he kind of operates some stuff. So I can't, fully say, but they're in an interesting spot, and they're setting themselves to be in a better spot for the 2026 offseason. And that does not mean I'm saying that, oh, they're gonna go out and sign a bunch of guys in the 2026 offseason. I'm just saying that, hey, they're clearing out a bunch of cap space for the 2026 offseason, and if they play their cards right, and Danny Ainge is one of those people that love draft picks, where he's gonna try to get as many draft picks as possible, and I think that's kind of the plan for them, at least. But we will see what actually does happen here. Okay, how much does Giddey want? All right, let's start there, guys. Again, welcome to the stream. First things first is that we got to talk about this whole thing with Josh Giddey today. So if you're not up to date with some of the Bulls YouTubers, okay, so now I'm not here to, if you're wondering, I'm not here to shit on other Bulls content creators, but I really just, there's some things that I'm not exactly pleased about when it comes to some Bulls content creators. Now let me be clear. I really like Hayes, but he kind of jumped the gun, I think, a little bit on this. Why is it double playing? That should not be double playing. Okay. So here's a video that came out today by Hayes. We gotta talk about this, okay? Hayes brought out this video, and it's because of the move, this big trade today that happened. This trade today, if you're wondering, it's John Collins is heading out to LA. It's a 3-team trade that is has the Clippers, the Heat, and the Jazz all involved. So this is the trade that happened today. Norman Powell is being sent from LA to Miami. So first and foremost, Miami just got Norman Powell for basically nothing. So good job by Miami. John Collins is heading to Los Angeles. Now, John Collins had the biggest contract of this deal. So it clears out the most amount of cap space out of any team here for this current offseason right now. So it's kind of a big deal right now for some people. Then we saw for all this to kind of work out, Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson and a second-round pick got sent to the Jazz. I think Kyle Anderson will most likely stay. I'm not entirely sure, though. We'll see. Kevin Love will most likely be bought out, and he will probably go and play for New York or something like that. So this trade happens, okay? Now, off of this trade, we get this tweet, okay? Where we have this guy, his name is Yossi, I think. Yossi, yeah. His name, they pronounce it Yossi. So this guy has been he's been a big cap analyst this entire offseason. I appreciate his work a lot. He has a website called Cap Sheets, so if you want to ever go look at the Cap Sheets, it's a pretty decent website. But Yossi has then, of course, he's been tweeting out kind of like information about teams when a trade happens. So it's just like, okay, how much cap space does this leave a team, or what did this do to this team's cap space, or what exception did they use? And we have, Yossi talking about the Jazz could pivot to becoming actually a cap space team here, where they could just decide to become one of those cap space teams, and they could have up to $22 million in cap space if they waive KJ Martin and Jaden Springer's non-guaranteed salaries. Those dates are coming up here soon, I believe. So they have like very little. I don't know how many days they have, but they have to make a decision on some of these guys right here. But they could, if they wanted to, get up to $22 million in cap space if they decide to waive KJ Martin and Jaden Springer's non-guaranteed salaries. So that is a possibility for the Utah Jazz after this deal, because John Collins and his contract, if you're wondering, John Collins, his contract was being sent out in the deal. Looks like they actually did the trade already. So let me go find. God, I forget. Spotrac always updates things, and I never can find things anymore sometimes. But John Collins got sent to the Clippers. He was making in his deal $26 million. Okay. The Jazz obviously sent out that money. And now for Utah, they no longer have that on their books. They received Kyle Anderson, who's making $9 million. And then they received Kevin Love, who's making about $4 million. And so, again, you're most likely just going to see Kevin Love get bought out here, which would save the Jazz even more money. Kyle Anderson, we'll see what they do here. I kind of think they're just going to keep him. But we'll see what they do. But with that being said, it's just like, hey, like, this is a thing. And then you go down here, and all of a sudden now this person is talking about this. And I haven't fully run the numbers on this, but I'm just going to go ahead and trust them, because I just kind of look at this, just glance at it, and I'm like, okay. They waived Jordan Clarkson's contract here, but they can stretch and waive him here even after his contract is gone. So they could stretch his contract out, and just simplify this. It's you multiply the amount of years left by 2, and you add an extra year. So basically a 1-year contract, it gets stretched out to over 3. So just divide this all up, you get like 3.333, whatever. So that would open up like a lot more money for this current offseason for the Jazz. And then the other one, what do you say? Buyout Kevin Love. So yeah, I can definitely see a world where you could get up to about like $6 million more in cap space, which is where he says then, hey, $28 million. And this is where Bulls fans and then some people like Hayes kind of took this information and was like, hey, like the Utah Jazz could go after Josh Giddey right now, because they could pivot to becoming a cap space team, and they could have up to $28 million to offer Josh Giddey right now. And I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is a possibility. I'm not gonna sit here and say Hayes is wrong or anything like that, but I want to just talk about to you guys what it would take for this to happen. Okay, and the first thing that we need to talk about is this. Okay, if you're wondering right now, the Utah Jazz, if you're wondering at this current moment in time, after this trade has been completed, which it seems like it's been pretty much already done, all right? So we're talking about right at this current moment in time. The Utah Jazz have not made any extra moves here. We're talking about just right in this current moment in time. Right this moment, the Utah Jazz are an over the salary cap team. They are not a team that is operating under the salary cap, okay? And it's like, oh, we sent out John Collins and we only took back about $13 million, so we just gained $13 million in extra cap space right now. That is not what happened, okay? They have been operating as an over the cap team for this entire offseason, all right? And then they've been making moves like trading Colin Sexton, and they brought in Yusuf Nurkic for whatever God knows reason. We just saw them waive Jordan Clarkson, and like they've been operating over as an over the salary cap team. So like this is not a team that is operating under the salary cap right now. They're operating over. Okay. And what this did do though is it was Bobby Marks is talking about right now. Like they could get under the salary cap, but what this then does is it would completely eliminate a lot of options for them right now. And the biggest thing is this trade exception. So if you're wondering what this just did here, this trade right here for the Utah Jazz, again, just to simplify the numbers, they traded out $26 million in John Collins' salary, and they received Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love. Add these up together, you get about $13 million. What this could then do for the Utah Jazz is, if they wanted to, they could create this large trade exception by taking in those contracts that they received with the mid-level exception. The mid-level exception is $14 million. And if the Utah Jazz actually did go ahead and wanted to, okay, they could take those contracts and not use the John Collins contract as the way to match, okay, which would then give them this trade exception of $26 million. It's basically just John Collins' contract, okay. However, right, with this contract, if we're going off of the $154 million salary cap, that is what we all know right now. This $154 million salary cap, and the projected salary right now with everybody on the roster is $146 million. So it's like, yeah, like they just created some salary cap space potentially. The thing is, though, is that no matter what you decide to do if you're the Utah Jazz, you're going to be creating some sort of trade exception in this deal, okay? And just because you're trading some sort of trade exception, it's going to bleed into your salary cap space. Therefore, you're operating over the salary cap. And if you're wondering what the other trade exception could be, I have the numbers here from Keith Smith in 1 second because it's hard to find. Sorry, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So here is the other option here for the Utah Jazz, and it's that they decide to not use the mid-level exception to go ahead and take the contracts in with the mid-level exception. So they would not create a $26.6 million trade exception. They would instead create an $18.7 million trade exception, because you would just be taking on, in cap space, excuse me. Sorry. I'm flipping in my head. Sorry. They could create $18.7 million in cap space right now by way of KJ Martin and Jared Springer plus Jasser plus one in roster spots. Okay. Sorry, I fumbled my words there. Excuse me. So yeah, there could be a trade exception that could be created here, no matter what. But to just keep in mind of what that would mean, okay? And I'm interested to see if they have this in. It looks like they don't. But if you're the Utah Jazz, if you want to go ahead and get this salary cap space right now, and it looks like we haven't updated this in Spot Trek yet, but there's a trade exception that would be created in this deal for the Utah Jazz no matter what, because they're sending out all this money and then they're only receiving a little bit, okay? So let's just say if you just combine both contracts, you would create like a $13 million trade exception. The thing is, though, is that if they want this salary cap space, okay, they would have to renounce this trade exception, okay? The Jazz also have a couple of other exceptions here, like the Patty Mills and this PJ Tucker one. But if you're wondering, it's basically as if like the Utah Jazz are gonna have to renounce all these guys, like all these trade exceptions, to get this salary cap space. So if the Utah Jazz decide to go ahead and use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception to take on Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love, which could be a possibility, they would create this large trade exception, okay? But if you wanted to suddenly become a salary cap team, okay, you'd have to get rid of this. And so then you can no longer use this $26.6 million trade exception. If you don't decide to do that, okay, then either way, you're still looking at your, $13 million trade exception. But if you want to become a salary cap team, you have to renounce that trade exception, okay? So everything I'm trying to say here, though, is that I don't personally think the Utah Jazz are going to do that. I think the Utah Jazz, their whole plan right now, if you just go over to multi-year contracts for them, okay, the whole plan for them has just been, hey, we need to just clear out as much salary cap space as possible for this 2026 offseason here, okay? That's the entire plan for Utah. That in and of itself is the plan. And so why would the Utah Jazz get rid of these trade exceptions that they're going to be creating here, which could either be pretty significant in the $26.6 million one or like the $13 million one if they decide to do that one. Either way, though, it's just like, why would they decide to get rid of those to all of a sudden get a bunch of cap space and then have to make a whole bunch of other moves to clear out more cap space for themselves here? And just to then go ahead and throw an offer to Josh Giddey and pray to God that somehow he signs and the Bulls don't match the offer. Like, why would they go ahead and do that? It doesn't make any sense, okay? There's no reason for this to even be a discussion, at least in my head, because it's like, why would they go ahead and do this? It's not worth their time, first and foremost, but secondly, if you offer Josh Giddey a contract, then it eats into this salary cap space for next offseason, and the whole plan for this upcoming offseason in 2026 is to have salary cap space. As you can see here, their active salary cap in the hundreds in 2026 is at 107, right? Like, they could have a lot of cap space in the 2026 offseason if they just get rid of all their cap holds that they're going to have on the table. And yeah, a bunch of guys on non-guaranteed contracts like Mikhailo and Filipowski if they want to get rid of him. Kyle Anderson's also on a non-guaranteed contract. Like, that's the reason why you go ahead and trade for him, is because maybe you can trade him for something down the road, but if you can't, then hey, you could just waive him after the season. So you're still going to have the salary cap space to just keep him, or just go ahead and waive him, and you're fine. Like, you're not going to be, feeling the detriments off of that. So basically, all things said, if it really is true that the Jazz could just like stretch out this money and like get to about $28 million in salary cap space, first and foremost, that's not enough for what apparently Josh Giddey wants. It would definitely be a leverage play to get Giddey up higher in terms of the salary negotiations with the Bulls. But the Giddey camps, for some reason, they want $30 million a year bare minimum. I already have said that, to me, that's an overpay. Like, that's just, it doesn't make any sense to pay Josh Giddey that much money right now, especially with the market where it is. But like I said, right now, as we currently stand, the Utah Jazz at this current moment in time, they don't have the salary cap space. They don't have this right now. They don't currently have it until we find out that they actually renounce these trade exceptions here and they go ahead and start waiving some of these non-guaranteed contracts like Jaden Springer and Kenyon Martin here, which would not be that bad of a deal for them just to waive it. But either way, though, like we're not operating as if the Utah Jazz have salary cap space at this current moment in time. They could, right? But right now, at this moment in time, they don't. Therefore, it's like, I don't think that this whole Utah Jazz thing is that big of a deal. I would be kind of shocked if Utah suddenly decided, yeah, we're going to target Josh Giddey and try to get him away from the Bulls. My standing, for me at least, has always been that, hey, if Giddey goes out and finds a way to get $30 million a year, then by all means, congratulations to you. We're just going to match it, and we'll just match it, and we'll be fine. We'll just move forward. But right now, as we currently stand, the Josh Giddey has not gotten that money. He just, right now, I don't see a way for him to get that money. And hell, even if Utah goes ahead and get rid of all their trade exceptions, and they waive some guys here to clear some more cap space, like, they still can't even offer $30 million a year. So I personally, I'm just like, this is not that big of a deal. If the Jazz go ahead and make $22 million in salary cap space, then I'm just like, hey, by all means, offer that to Josh Giddey. I am very happily just going to match that. If I had to go ahead and make a guess, Josh Giddey's camp is not going to be not going to be accepting that offer right now. So I personally am just here to say, like, I wanted to, like, this was like the first thing of this stream. It's just that I think that this Utah Jazz thing is just a little bit blown out of the water by some people. That's not me saying, like, hey, this is like, oh, there's no way possible. Like, there's no way. Like, there's definitely a way where, like, the Utah Jazz could send out more money here, and all of a sudden they could have like $35 million in salary cap space to go ahead and offer Josh Giddey. That is a possibility. I'm not here to say it isn't, but I don't think it would be in the Utah Jazz's best interest to go ahead and do that right now. Why would you just suddenly be sacrificing a bunch of young guys' contracts right now to just go and get Josh Giddey just to pay him a bunch of money and pray to God the Bulls don't match it? Like, that doesn't make any sense at this current moment in time, at least in my opinion. And I just think that this is just a little bit too much blown out of the water. If you're wondering about Markkanen's contract, I don't really see a way for this Markkanen contract to get moved up, but unless you take back contracts as well, which is then obviously just going to eat into your salary cap space if you have it. So I don't really see a world where this is a big thing. I could 100% be wrong, and all of a sudden we find out that Giddey is accepting a big offer from the Utah Jazz suddenly. Like, it could happen. But to me, I'm just like, I think this is a little bit blown out of proportion. Until we find out that the Utah Jazz are actually going to be looking to use their salary cap space, I'm personally just sitting here just like, okay, like, cool deal. This doesn't really relate too much to the Bulls at this current moment in time. At least in my opinion. So, look, I'm not here to say like, hey, he's stupid or anything like that. He's not stupid. but I just think that this is just kind of a little bit like more clickbait, and it's like, okay, like, do we really need to discuss this? Because I kind of just look at this right here. I'm just like, I don't know why the Utah Jazz would go ahead and suddenly become a salary cap team. Like, to me, it would not be in their best interest to become one of these teams, because it would, ruin this trade exception that they could create here. But even if they don't use the non-taxpayer mid-level exception to create this large trade exception, you then still have the non-taxpayer mid-level exception to go ahead and use for either a trade exception or go ahead and sign someone with it. Like, that's a valuable thing to kind of have for Utah at this current moment in time. I don't really see a reason why they would go ahead and just suddenly shift, but there is a possibility. Ainge is weird. We'll see what actually does end up happening, but I don't know. I think it's just a little bit blown out of proportion at the end of the day. So that is just kind of the Utah Jazz summary stuff. I'm going to answer your questions now because I didn't want to interrupt myself. Yeah, so if you're wondering how much does Giddey want, Giddey wants $30 million a year, because Jalen Suggs got $30 million a year. Josh Giddey and his camp wants $30 million a year. Now here's the thing: you can argue, at least in my opinion, I think you can argue Jalen Suggs is overpaid. The Magic decided to give him a contract extension before he hit restricted free agency, and so they try to just kind of jump the market and just kind of say like, hey, like, we're not going to risk him going to restricted free agency, we're just going to jump the market, and they give him that big offer. Now, granted, again, the Orlando Magic have had a lot more success than the Bulls recently. I'd also argue that Jalen Suggs is a better player than Giddey. Now, I understand a lot of people are going to debate that, but I would personally, especially with this current salary cap situation that we're heading into right now, where the salary cap's not increasing as much as we thought it would be, the Jalen Suggs contract, at least in my opinion, I think it's kind of a bit of an overpay. But Orlando can't afford to do that because they just got Ben Carroll on this massive deal. So it didn't really matter for them at the end of the day. For the Bulls, though, it's like Giddey, he has this very interesting season overall. Really good 5 games in October. November and December were absolutely dreadful and unacceptable levels of play from Giddey. Getting benched in the fourth quarter. And his 3-point percentage was nowhere near, obviously, where it then ended up being. January comes around and he doesn't have the best start to January. I believe he got injured also at the start of January, but I could be wrong with my timeline. But then starts to play better at the second half of January. Trade deadline happens, and Levine's officially gone, and Giddey is then going to be like probably the best player when Levine initially left. And then him and Kobe had an insane March, right? All that for, unfortunately, where you then good April, but Giddey missed some games in April due to his wrist issue that he was dealing with, or it was wrist or forearm issue. Playing game happens, and Giddey has a pretty bad playing game. Now, it's not his fault. The entire Bulls team had an awful playing game. Miami Heat very clearly decided to show up and actually show what they're actually doing, and how they actually play, and not, hide all their stuff like they did in the previous game. So Giddey has this very up and down season, and he's, got benched in the previous year's playoffs, and now Bulls fans all of a sudden are going off of this, February, March, some of April run for Giddey, and are like, yeah, let's give him $30 million. And I'm like, listen, I think that if Giddey wasn't unrestricted free agent right now, that, yeah, he could maybe argue for $30 million, but that's not the case. Josh Giddey is a restricted free agent, and this is not new, if you're wondering how Giddey and Kuminga and Quentin Grimes and Cam Thomas and others are all being treated restricted free agency. This is not new, okay? This is what happens. Io DeSumo went through this. Zach LaVine went through this. Kobe White kind of went through this, but he just kind of agreed to a team offer pretty quickly, which he didn't have to do. But we can argue that Kobe White, when he was restricted free agent, a lot of people thought he got underpaid. So this isn't new, especially for this Bulls team. Now, Patrick Williams got an absolute gift to him that even I was wrong about. But I was looking at, the small forward market, and this is kind of what Giddey's kind of looking at too right now. But the small forward market for guys like Patrick Williams, they're getting paid a lot. Jamie McDaniels got paid a serious amount of money. So did Devin Vassell. They got paid significantly more than what Patrick Williams got. But then Denny Avdia got paid significantly less than what Patrick Williams got. So you just kind of met in the in-between area, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. But then we obviously saw what Isaac Okoro got in restricted free agency. Same offseason as Patrick Williams when he got his contract, and they're pretty similar players. And Isaac Okoro had to settle for a 3-year, $33 million contract, basically. Or it was like something along those lines. But we saw Isaac Okoro, a guy that wanted a lot of money, didn't get it, and he unfortunately had to settle for a 3-year, $33 million contract. That was not his goal heading into the offseason, I promise you that. So, at the end of the day, because it's restricted free agency, I just think paying Josh Giddey right now $30 million a year is not a smart decision. I think the Bulls and Giddey right now need to come to some sort of like middle ground. So if it ends up being $25 million a year, like I can definitely live with it. It's not ideal, at least in my head, but I can live with it. Anything over 25, I think, is a mess up by the Bulls. But here's the part that I think a lot of people need to understand. This to me right now, like I've called the Bulls cheap as hell, but this is not about luxury tax at this current moment in time. Okay, like this is not like, oh, the Bulls are trying to like save money for luxury tax. Like it kind of is, but like it really isn't right now. The Bulls could offer Josh Giddey $35 million a year if they wanted to, which would basically be a max contract with his current years of service in the NBA. His max contract's $38 million the first year, but it's not something that I'm just like, oh, like, yeah, let's just go ahead and just do that because like, you know, we're the Bulls or whatever. Like, it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh, the Bulls are getting cheap, like we should just offer getting the money right now. Like, it's not one of those situations. It's just that, in my opinion, at least for the way I look at things, like you got to earn your money. And Giddey, unfortunately, this past season did not average 21, 11, and 9 through an 82-game season. He averaged 21, 11, and 9 through 2.5 months. That's not enough for me. So I personally think that what Giddey and others, and this is not just him, like the Kuminga camp, the Quentin Grimes camp, the Cam Thomas camp, and others, okay, and especially just around the NBA right now, they have to kind of lower their expectations for money. The salary cap, if you're wondering, by the way, like the reason why this is all happening right now, this number right here, this $165 million number, it's $5 million lower than we projected, okay? Then you're thinking, oh, it's just $5 million. Like, no, this is the reason why I talk about when, like, this amount of money matters, okay? So Giddey getting paid $5 million less per year is actually pretty significant because the salary cap for this 2026 offseason is $5 million less than projected what we thought it was going to be. This was supposed to be $170 million. It's now $165, okay? And here's the thing. Those are just projections. It could go even lower. So I'm just here saying, like, because of that right now, the idea of for Giddey or for others to get $30 million, I just think it's a pretty ridiculous idea because the salary cap's not going up as much as it was we kind of thought it was going to be. You need to lower your amount that you're looking for. The CBA, with how it is, you can blame the CBA if you want to, but I don't really think this is a CBA issue. I just think that when you kind of look at what's happening around the league and how some players are getting paid, but then also the salary cap right now, like, you need to lower your idea of how much that a player like Giddey or Kuminga should be getting paid. Kuminga, like, his camp's also asking for $30 million, and I'm like, that's just insane. Like, why? What? In what world did Jonathan Kuminga play, and he played well enough to earn $30 million already, like a year? That makes no sense. Giddey, in my opinion, it's the same situation. He did not have a good last year overall in OKC. And he came in, had a pretty rough start to the season, and yeah, he found his way near the end, but that's only half a season. Like, if he did this for an entire year, then I'm willing to just throw as much money as he wanted to, but he didn't do that. So, hence, right now is why I'm like, he needs to lower his asking price. And this is then where I feel like he can potentially, if the Utah Jazz go ahead and try to open up some salary cap space, like maybe he can try to use them as leverage, but right now, bro, I mean, I'd be kind of shocked if Utah is going to be a leverage team. I think that there just needs to be a middle ground met here. I don't know what it's going to take. Restricted free agency, like, sometimes it's going to take the entire month of July. Like, that's not abnormal. But I do think that he needs to lower his asking price a little bit here. $30 million right now, I just think it's way too much. Again, if you want to go ahead and get $30 million, I dare you to get it right now. I really seriously dare you to get it. If he settles for $22 million from the Utah Jazz, we'll gladly match it. Hell, I've been saying it. If he gets $30 million from some other team, we'll match it. But the Brooklyn Nets decided, no, we're not going to use our salary cap space on Josh Giddey. Kind of smart by them because they're a, all rebuilding team at the current moment in time. They instead used it for draft picks, and that's exactly what I think the Bulls should be doing next offseason. But they're, it is what it is. So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen here. I do think that this Utah thing overall is blown out proportion. I don't think they're a threat to just suddenly steal Giddey from us at all. But I do think it's important the Bulls do try to find a way to re-sign him. I'm not here to say don't re-sign him. I think you should re-sign him, but it should be for more team friendly, because Giddey has not shown anything, at least in my opinion, where I'm like, yeah, you're a $30 million per year player consistently. Like, you haven't shown that. So if that's the case, then hey, let's meet in the middle ground. You won't get 30 million. We want 20 million, but you're probably not going to get that. You don't want that. So I'm like, okay, well, what's in between that we can agree upon? Maybe it's a 3-year contract for you, because then you'll hit unrestricted free agency after year 7, and that's when you can earn 30% salary cap instead of 25%. That would increase your earnings potential if you want to go ahead and do that. That's fine. Maybe it's a 4-year deal, and it's like descending. Sure, I'm cool with that. But figure out a middle ground, because this is insane for you to be asking for $30 million and the market saying no. So we're not going to budge, honestly. But I hope to figure it out. It's not my decision to figure it out. It's on AK and the rest of the team, and Giddey's camp. But we'll see what happens. So that's my spiel. What's going on, Tyler? 26 for John Collins as well. Yeah, it's a lot of money. He's on expiring, though. The Clippers, overall, we'll talk about the Clippers deal. I kind of like what they're doing, though. What's going on, Rob? Today I'm going to start from the beginning and just listen. Okay, gotcha. I appreciate that, man. Get with the Utah Jazz news. Is nothing too big. Yeah, it is. If they use the exception, does that make it where we have to / can match that for a Giddey contract? So I want to make this clear, okay? I know a lot of people are confused about this. This right here, this trade exception for Josh Giddey, this trade exception for the Utah Jazz, this cannot be used to sign Giddey to a contract. Okay, this is not money that they can sign a free agent with, if you're wondering. This is a trade exception, which means that you can acquire a player, trade for a player, making this much money, and you do not have to send out any money, because this is an exception to the amount of money that you're receiving. Instead of you having, like, let's say you go and trade for a player making $20 million this season, okay? Usually you have to send out about $20 million in matching salary, right? But for the Utah Jazz, because if they decide to get this trade exception, which again, they'd have to use some salary cap stuff to have that happen. But if they decided, create this trade exception, they could acquire that player making $20 million without having to send out money, okay? But it has to be through a trade, okay? This is not money to send out to, sign a free agent with, okay? This is money to acquire a player making that much money without you sending out contracts to match the contract, okay? That's what this is, okay? Now, could it be used for a Josh Giddey sign-in trade? It could, but I've already talked about extensively how much a sign-in trade is hard to pull off. And again, Giddey doesn't have the leverage necessarily right now to be like saying, yeah, I want to sign and trade to Utah Jazz. It's just like the Bulls could just say no right now. But even if they try to agree upon it, it's like you're trying to then figure out money that would work for both sides. Just very quickly, if Giddey gets paid $26 million a year in a sign-in trade, the Bulls can only take back $13 million. So like try to match up that money and come back to me, like, and make it simple and easy. Like it's a tough thing to do. And again, like I don't really know why the Utah Jazz would be acquiring Giddey right now. So there's also that. What's going on, Darius? They want it because the Suggs got, the most Utah could offer is like right under 30 million, right? So if Utah goes ahead and like they stretch out Jordan Clarkson's waive, they waived him and they stretch out his contract, then like the most that they could offer is like 28 million, like right now. But again, that's if, what I said earlier, that's if they get rid of these trade exceptions, which I feel like are kind of important for Utah. So I personally do not think that's something that they're going to do right now. I think, honestly, also the other thing to keep in mind, if they waive this and stretch his contract, that's just dead money on the books for the next 3 years. Why would you do that if you're Utah? Like you're projecting yourself to have salary cap space in 2026. I personally would not want dead money on my books in that offseason, but maybe I'm not necessarily I'm not Ainge in Utah. I'm not playing those games right now. Suggs plays defense. I mean, Suggs, like, obviously is, an all defensive team defender. His 3-point shot, I understand, is very iffy. But I think for him specifically, when you look at what the Orlando Magic are doing, like, he's a very good complement to Banchero, to Wagner, and to others, right? Like, Suggs is not a point guard necessarily, but he doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time because Banchero and Wagner have it, right? So it's not that big of a deal for Suggs overall. Like, his job is to be a great defender on the perimeter and be like potentially the third option if for some reason Desmond Bane is not going to be that for them this season, which he really should be. But that's why, like, when you have your star, like, then other guys can get paid more than before. Like, it's okay. It's okay if Suggs got paid that much money because Banchero's here, right? Like, Suggs could be overpaid, but I have my guy, right? Like, the Bulls right now, I don't think they have their guy right now at this very moment in time. I personally can't really find a way for them to get one, but with that being said, I don't want them to overpay Josh Giddey because, one, I don't think he's the guy. Two, he's, at least in my opinion, like, he's not going to be someone that's necessarily going to be suddenly, like, popping off and becoming an all-star. But three, it's important for the Bulls to keep as much salary cap space as possible moving forward. And if they need to trade Josh Giddey because whatever happens, like, he wants out, or the Bulls want to actually hard reset for once, which they probably should do right now, then it has to be a tradable contract. And because the salary cap space is not going up as much as we thought, then keeping Josh Giddey on a tradable contract is more important than ever now. So I really think that that's something the Bulls fans are not fully kind of grasping. They're just worried about guys getting paid. You know, there's reasons to, yeah, I'll just end it there. Audio look like a baseball contract, and if you're wondering, Banchero can increase his earnings up to $287 million. So, but I mean, hey, like, if you're in the Magic, like, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, he absolutely got like a baseball contract, and as he should. Like, Banchero's incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Magic are going to do this upcoming season because the East is wide open. Only thing Giddey Camp could say regarding him versus Suggs is, well, at least Giddey plays more. That's about it. Fair. I mean, yeah, availability is the best ability. The only thing though about that is just like, okay, well, Suggs very clearly had a lot of impact on this Magic squad. Magic clearly missed them when Suggs went out. So like, yeah, you play more games, but Suggs, I think you could just look at the games when he was out. Like, bro, like, Magic dearly missed them. I don't know if Giddey has that impact. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very weird argument, at least in my opinion, from the Giddey camp, but it's what they have, right? The other argument that they're trying to use is the Emmanuel Quickley contract. That's just an overpay, like, straight up. Like, Emmanuel Quickley getting that much money, it's like $162 million. Like, that's just an overpay. That was a terrible deal by the Raptors. So just because the Raptors decide to overpay Emmanuel Quickley, why should the Bulls do it? Like, it's not a smart decision by the Bulls to overpay a guy. Like, that's just not in the best interest of the team. And if Giddey's all about actually winning, then I kind of would hope that he would agree. But hey, look, bro, like, we're fine if you get $25 million a year. Like, I'm okay with that. How about we get to that sort of middle ground and then we can talk. But if you're stuck at 30, bro, like, oh dear lord. Giddey played above himself. He's more of a 17-7-7 guy who gets that in the flow of the game, but he needs to go to score for him to shine like that. No, I agree. And let me be clear. I think Giddey's rebounding and, like, his connectiveness on offense is important. Like, I think that's a valuable skill to have. I also think that his transition game is important as well. But none of that, what I just listed, though, is that, hey, I trust you to go out and be a 20-point per game scorer. Like, yeah, he did it for 2.5 months, I guess, which honestly I would argue it wasn't even that long. But like, yeah, I've seen you go out and do that for a little bit of time, but I'm not convinced in that you're gonna do that starting next season. You're gonna certainly average 21 points per game off the bat. I hope you do, but I'm not convinced. So look, because of that, like, that's kind of the reason why I don't want to get paid $30 million. Like, I need a guy that's gonna be out there scoring at least 20 a night. Because again, his max contract, if he wants a max, is $38 million. It starts at $38 million. Okay, like, I don't think people understand. Like, people for some reason think that, oh, the max contract for Giddey would start at like $45 million. Okay, that's not the case. Okay, Giddey can only get 25% of the salary cap, and 25% of the salary cap this season is $38 million. Okay, so his starting salary, his first year of a max contract, is $38 million. You're telling me that Josh Giddey is $8 million? Like, he basically deserves $8 million less than the max that he could be offered. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's not something I agree with at all. Absolutely not. So he needs to lower his asking price. Man, 25, I can live with it. Let's just start talking there first, instead of this whole 30 BS that we got right now. Yeah, Okoro is who we paid P. Will to be, just cheaper. I disagree personally. I think Okoro is not that great. I personally just think they're both disappointing. But that's the contract that P. Will should be getting, but he didn't. And look, I messed that up too. But Okoro, I will say, is a better defender than P. Will. So hopefully, I hope that's going to be the decision. And the idea for Okoro to come in and be that sort of guy. I'm not thrilled with what Okoro can do on the court, unfortunately. I understand that a lot of people really love his defense, his on-ball point of attack defense. It's just that I don't really see full upside, and that's not to knock him. It's just that you're 24 going on 25, like, ugh. So yeah, it's probably the idea is that he's going to come in and be the defender that we thought Patrick Williams was supposed to be, and then ideally do other stuff. But the problem is that when Isaac Okoro has tried to do other things, he has not succeeded. Whether that is him starting or coming off the bench, he has not been a guy that consistently ever put up anything else besides just be, hey, you're a good defender, and your three-point shot has gotten better. I'm not here to say it hasn't, but like when he's gotten more minutes, he has not really averaged more rebounds. So, Patrick, I've been talking about is that he needs to average more rebounds per game. Okoro doesn't really do that either, but he's smaller, so he kind of has more of an excuse. So I hope that Okoro's gonna prove me wrong, and like we're gonna love what we see from him moving forward. I'm not necessarily loving what I'm seeing. What's the deadline where a deal has to be made by? The deadline is basically just training camp. Like, this could go on forever, honestly. If you're wondering about the Bulls ever pulling the qualifying offer for Josh Giddey, that's July 13th. No, I'd be shocked if they ever did that, because then that makes Giddey an unrestricted free agent, and then you also lose your bird rights, which basically makes you impossible to re-sign Josh Giddey. So it's like, again, like that's not going to happen. But yeah, this qualifying offer is sent out to Giddey at this current moment in time. It's not listed here, but here's his cap hold. And yeah, I mean, this can go on until training camp, honestly. I don't think it will, but ideally this gets done before like August hits. But hey, it has to go into mid-August, so be it. At that point, there's like no teams with cap space, so they're just going to come down, bro. They're going to have to come down from their asking price. When you go through your thought process and why Utah, I agree completely with you, and that's why I don't think there's much validity. Yeah, I agree. You saw how much they missed Suggs in the end. I mean, yeah, the Magic really missed Suggs. They desperately needed him near the end. So, hey, man, if there's a year for the Magic, bro, it's this year. Like, you got to go out there at least be a top 4 seed this season and like get pretty far in the playoffs. No Halliburton for the Pacers. That's been confirmed for the entire season. Boston, obviously, we'll see if Tatum is going to ever come back. I seriously, if it was up to me, I'm keeping Tatum out for the entire season. And so it's Cleveland, right? Like, it's Cleveland. I know Milwaukee's going to make another push here. Don't really like that. I don't have much faith in that team overall, but I'm not loving that team. But I think there's another move coming for them, but I don't know, honestly. I don't love the team. Yeah, I mean, Pacers are out. Like, this is the year. I will say I think Atlanta is a sleeper team this season now officially because of the moves they've made. And they still have Trae Young, so there's a world for Atlanta to be pretty competitive out there. And then of course Miami, just it feels like Miami every third year finds a way to be really good. So we have to always watch out for them if you're any team in the East. But yeah, I'm not really here thinking like, oh god, like Orlando like screwed themselves. Like Orlando's in an interesting spot with their salary cap situation, but like Suggs, like he's very important to that squad, and so him getting paid that much money is just like, yeah, it's not that big of a thing. How much will Montes play in the summer league? It's guaranteed at least one game for Buzelis in the summer league here. We'll see how long it actually is going to be for Buzelis. I personally would like to see 2 if you're wondering. Now, first, if you're wondering, by the way, I'm shocked that he's even playing in Summer League. I did not expect Buzelis to be playing in Summer League at all. The fact that he is actually kind of shocking to me. but I do appreciate it. Some more time for him to get the ball in his hands to kind of work on some things. Summer League is definitely an unorganized like kind of atmosphere, so there is always that to keep in mind. But I do appreciate that he's willing to go ahead and do this. And so he should also be playing for Lithuania for FIBA, or is it FIBA or Euro Cup? I always forget which one it is, but he should be playing for Lithuania here soon in August, I think, or like right before training camp starts, or maybe September. So he's gonna be playing a lot before we even get into the season. So I appreciate Buzelis doing this. I would like to see 2. But if it's just 1, that's fine. But I would also say 2 is my max. Like, I'm not playing him after 2 games. I'm not playing him after that. So if he is willing to play 2, great. Then we'll play in 2 games, and he's done. After that, though, I do not want him playing after that. I would personally just like for him to sit, and I'd be okay, honestly, if he just left the team, honestly, for the rest of the Summer League. Just go out and keep working on your own individual workouts and, you know, getting ready for you to play on the Lithuania team. So looking forward to it. You talking about the Vucevic or Stewart rumor? I am not. Let me talk about that in a second here. I'll talk about that right now. More time to build chemistry with the Senge 2. Yeah, that's also gonna be interesting to watch. So if you didn't tune in earlier, I was as I was trying to start up stream, I'm like working on a Senge video. So if you're wondering about stuff that I like about a Senge, videos will be coming out before Summer League starts. So it's gonna be either Wednesday or Thursday. I know Summer League's is starting on Thursday, but Bulls don't play until Friday. So before the Bulls Summer League game, I will be getting a Senge video out. It's a film breakdown stuff. Talk about what I like, what I dislike about him. So be on the lookout for that. But I will say that looking for that sort of chemistry to build between those two and like how they interact with each other is gonna be interesting to see. They're gonna have the ball in their hands a lot more than obviously in the regular season. But it's a good kind of gauge to see how they could play off of each other, how they're gonna work defensively, and how they're gonna be able to like run the fast break effectively. I do think Buzelis is gonna have the ball in his hands more than a Senge probably will. But I hope that they both can find ways to be effective with the ball. Especially a Senge. Like, a Senge is gonna have to find a way to get some effectiveness with the ball. Granted, he is still 18, so like maybe it's not something that's gonna happen until maybe following seasons. But I'm looking forward to seeing if a Senge is gonna be able to get, you know, better on-ball reps and developing in that area. So yeah, looking forward to Summer League, man. If you're wondering, by the way, so plan is right now is I will be streaming, doing post-game stream after the first Summer League game. So the first Summer League game, I believe, is at 7 p.m. Central Time. So assuming it's going to go only about 2 hours because Summer League's a little bit shorter, we'll go ahead and do post-game stream after the first Summer League game. So it's going to be about like 9-ish o'clock. We'll see. But basically, I'm sure you guys are also going to be tuning in. It's on ESPN, I believe. So if you're tuning in, once it's over, check on the channel. Plan is for us to be doing a post-game stream. So we'll be right back into doing post-game streams already in the middle of July. Look at that. Looking forward to it, honestly, man. I'm really looking forward to Summer League. I wish I could go, bro. I really want to go to Summer League this year, but I am not obviously going to Summer League. Okay, let me go back to this guy. Okay. So, Darius, I'm gonna need more from you when it comes to this whole Vucevic and Stewart idea. Because I know that this Jake Weinbach guy tweeted it, and if it was up to me personally, I don't really trust him. Like, I'm just being dead serious. Like, I don't. There's a guy that has not really been right about a lot of things. He makes a lot of tweets to kind of get some clicks, but yeah. So this, of course, then makes news for Bulls Twitter and content stuff, and I'm like, okay. Let me just start off by saying this. I don't know why the Pistons would want Vucevic, but let's just talk about this a little bit. More time, or sorry. You can make an argument if it takes time for guys to learn chemistry and play together, and for them to figure it out with the second group was interesting data. learn chemistry, but I got afraid to figure it out with the second group was interesting. That I mean, I do think that yeah, like having guys go ahead and play. Okay, yeah, sorry, that's my singing video stuff. But yeah, having guys like Buzelis and Asenge playing like now is a good decision for if they are like the second unit, which could happen. And that does not mean I'm saying Buzelis doesn't start, but it just means that like Buzelis could like be part of the second unit. Buzelis also though overall like he was part of the second unit at the start of the season, and like I do think that did kind of help Buzelis like playing summer league, playing with some of the other younger guys. Like I do think that did kind of help him. So yeah, this overall though it's going to be a big summer league, and having Buzelis and Asenge play together is great. But just be careful with Buzelis. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, if Asenge needs to be playing with like second tier guys, then yeah, it'd be good for him to get that sort of reps in with them. Let Matas run point forward for 2 summer league games. I'd be down just to kind of see it, just see what would happen. Yeah, just put it ball in his hands and just let him kind of run the offense and let him run pick and roll. See what happens. We saw some games where he kind of ran some point forward, which was very intriguing. So yeah, I'd be all for it. Have you been to summer league? Yeah, I went in the Wembanyama year, so 2023. I went that year. Awesome. I had a blast, bro. Yeah, I went when Wembanyama was at summer league. Obviously the big reason why I wanted to go was because Wembanyama was there. But yeah, my guys and I, we went out to Vegas for basically a week. And oh man, I had an absolute blast at summer league, bro. It was awesome time. Obviously gambled a little bit, lost a bunch of money gambling, but bro, like if you're one of these people in my chat right now, and like even if you just love the Bulls, for example, like I'm telling you, go out to summer league at least one time in your life. It's just an awesome experience. Summer league is only for like the NBA nerds like us, so you're gonna go there and be surrounded by other people that like talk just like us, bro. Like we talk about everything that when it comes to NBA, and you just get to watch games from like legitimately like from the start of like noon to then like 9 p.m. It's just games, and you get to choose which games you want to watch. Like if you want to go and watch like specific prospects, just go out there. Like that's the type of stuff where I'm just like, oh my god, like it's just an absolute amazing time. So get out there if you haven't already. If you are going, let me know. I know Tyler's going, so I'm very jealous. I really want to go this year, but I can't go this year. But it's an absolute blast. Make sure you get out there at some point. I look at it as more speculation / a trade idea than actual rumor. Okay, yeah. So this Vucevic idea, when it comes to Isaiah Stewart for Nikola Vucevic, and so I saw some people kind of taking this as like literal sense. But let's just talk about this. Vucevic for Isaiah Stewart. First and foremost, I don't understand why the Pistons will want Vuce. To me, this makes no sense. There's this whole idea that like, oh, like you can put Duran at the 4 and Vucevic at the 5, stretch 5. I hate that idea. I think Duran needs to play the center position. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that this sort of idea doesn't make any sense. Now the proposed offer by Weinbach here, who again I don't really trust this guy, but it would be Isaiah Stewart for Nikola Vucevic straight up swap. That I won't lie, that's good by Weinbach to kind of just look at what the other trades the Bulls have done, where it's just straight up swaps, and it's just like, okay, yeah, like younger player with experience for a older guy that the Bulls are trying to move. Like that makes a lot of sense by what Weinbach did here. And so this then creates salary cap flexibility for Detroit in 2026. Here's Detroit's salary cap situation. So like they could have had salary cap space this current offseason, but they really didn't. Or I should say they could have had more, but they didn't like go ahead and make more. They went and they got Karis LeVert, which is using the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. Duncan Robinson as well. I forget which one was which. Sorry, was Duncan Robinson the NTMLE? Oh wait, no, sorry, I forgot that was a sign and trade. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, sign and trade for Duncan Robinson. So then this was the non-taxpayer mid-level exception by Karis LeVert. So they operated as an over the salary cap team. So like they didn't have salary cap space, but their overall salary situation's like in a pretty good spot. Multi-year though, just kind of looking here, Kay Cunningham's gonna get paid a ton. But then like yeah, like they could open up some salary cap space for sure. And so getting rid of Isaiah Stewart's contract, which is about $15 million, like get it off the books. I don't mind the idea for Detroit overall, but I just don't think that Vooch is the right guy. So would I offer if I'm the Bulls, and like would I if you're wondering, if I'm the Bulls, I'm definitely doing this. Like I would gladly take Isaiah Stewart for Nikola Vucevic, and I'm not looking back. Like that would make a lot of sense to me. But I don't think Detroit's gonna do this. Detroit is in a more win now scenario. They just made the playoffs this past season. They took the next to 6 games. I thought that Detroit's gonna win that series, honestly, heading into the series. So I personally do not think that they're going to be looking to go ahead and trade for a center that doesn't play defense, but I don't know. Detroit has done some weird decisions, but I do think that they kind of missed Stewart, honestly, because he was injured for a good portion of that Knicks series, and they kind of needed him. And so I think that they'd rather just kind of go out and just, bring in these new guys in LeVert and Duncan Robinson and just kind of play it out and see what happens. You get Jaden Ivey back. I don't think Vooch really helps them. I think you just keep Duren as your center. And yeah, you're going to have to sign him to a new contract after the season, but I think you just keep Duren as your center and you don't touch the other parts personally. So, yeah, I'm okay with this. If Detroit offered it, sure, I'd take it. But I don't think Detroit's going to offer this personally. Maybe trading toughness for more offense, but I don't think it's the best idea for them. Yeah, I agree. I'd offer Vooch, Kobe, and the Blazers first resign, just an attempt to try to show something in terms of changing the direction of the team. Vooch, Kobe, and Blazers first resign. I don't think that gets you Zion personally. I think the Pelicans wouldn't say no to that. I'd offer it for sure, but I don't think the Pelicans would take that. I think you need to at least offer one of your first round picks, not the Blazers pick. We saw Montes play a few roles already, so we know he can do both on ball and off ball stuff. Well, for sure, yeah. I just want to see if Buzelis is gonna. Like, if he plays, like, 2 games, for example, like, I want to see him just kind of get the on-ball reps, like, take advantage of mismatches, right? Like, stuff that he doesn't get as many opportunities to do in regular season games. So, yeah, like, I have faith that if he is, like, the point forward, for example, like, I have faith he's going to show out. I'm just saying, like, I would rather just kind of see him work on some on-ball stuff instead of his off-ball stuff in Summer League. Like, I'm okay if Senge, for example, works on his off-ball stuff. Like, he needs to kind of work on some things off-ball. And so that'd be okay. But I would personally, if Buzelis is gonna be running in the Summer League, which we're at least getting 1 game from him, right? I want him just to kind of work on the on-ball things. Because again, you're not gonna really get that opportunity that many times in the regular season too. But keep expectations low for Senge by expecting him to have some nice blocks. Hope to see him get better with rotations. So yeah, my expectations for Senge are also pretty slim. Like, I'm not this specific Summer League. I mean, again, he's 18 years old. He's very raw. So like, I'm not. Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm not expecting anything spectacular from him. Senge is gonna probably come in. I think you're gonna see some offensive rebounds. You're gonna see some nice dunks from him in transition. You're gonna see his length play a factor in like kind of different areas of the floor, whether it's like defensive rotations or on-ball defense or getting the passing lanes. You'll see his length really start to affect people throughout the games. But in terms of like on-ball reps, like I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't get that many. The spacing in Summer League is pretty poor. So I wouldn't be shocked if he just doesn't really get that many on-ball reps because he'll probably just get stripped with the lack of spacing out there. So, get him some off-ball opportunities, get some alley-oop opportunities, transition plays. I want to see him run some pick and roll where he's the screener. Because I do think that's like an opportunity for him to kind of get some easy points in the NBA early on. So that's going to be something that I do want to see. Obviously then, hopefully Yuki's going to be making the great passes and doing everything, which I'm looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit for Senge to kind of round into form, obviously. But I do want to see a few things. But keep the expectations slim. Don't expect anything spectacular from him. just kind of see what the idea potential of him would be. They probably raise the cap depending on how that year's data plays out for them. Wait, sorry. So the NBA, like, right now it goes the salary cap's determined by TV deals, and right now the regional sports network, like Chicago Sports Network, is not doing well. So I know the NBA just got this new TV deal in where they're going away from TNT, they're going to NBC. I don't really know how those talks went. Also, Prime's gonna get some games this season, so again, I'm not really sure how this TV deal exactly went. I'm sure though they got a lot of money out of it. But I do think that with the regional sports networks not really doing great, I think they're gonna probably keep lowering it. So again, instead of a 10% increase, which is what was projected, it's now a 7% increase. So I wouldn't be shocked if it just kind of like hovers around there, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about the salary cap stuff moving forward. You still take Stewart with him adding an extra $15 million on the books in 2026. I would, just because then I think that you could potentially move him if needed. 15 million, I'm like, yeah. I got value for Vucevic where I'm like, hey, I did not think I was gonna get any value for him. And so if I just take on his $15 million and try to trade him, but if we don't, it's okay. That's something I'm cool with, honestly. I'd be cool with it overall. It's not amazing, obviously, but I'd be okay with it. Just because, again, like you're getting value for Vooch. Is this a possibility, though? I don't really think it is. But I'd be okay with it. Senge versus CMB Friday, interesting. It is definitely very interesting. Yeah. Those two going at each other is going to be very intriguing. One is obviously, and CMB is much bigger, stronger in terms of just his overall kind of mass. Senge is, taller, but skinnier, more lengthy, though. So I'm looking forward to seeing those two. I think they obviously have their flaws right now. So we'll see how those two kind of work it out. But don't be shocked if CMB is a better game than a Senge. Like that wouldn't be shocking at all. CMB is, older, more kind of refined as a player at this current moment in time. So if Senge doesn't really do great against him overall, like that's not shocking. I wouldn't be too scared about that at all. So yeah. Either way though, again, we're gonna do post game after that game Friday night. Bulls then play again, I believe, the next day. I believe they then go ahead and play Saturday as well. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they then go ahead and play the Kings on Saturday. So when did the Bulls play? Yeah, okay, so 7 p.m. Central Time, and then 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay, so yeah, I'll see if I go ahead and do a post-game stream after this day. I don't know, though. I have work on Sunday, so we'll see if I do that. I'll let you guys know, though, if we'll be doing that. If Buzelis plays, though, I'll probably go ahead and just do another post-game stream that day. But again, no matter what, post-game stream after this game on Friday. We'll definitely be doing this on Friday for sure. Yeah. Looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm jealous of Tyler. Tyler's going to Summer League, so... I don't know if Tyler's still here, but Tyler, are you heading out for the first games? You're catching the first games, or are you going to be catching, more of the playoffs games? I want to know. Are you here? Yeah. Are you gonna be heading out for the 10th, or are you gonna be for the later games, or are you just gonna watch all the games? Which honestly, that's not a bad vacation, just to watch all the games. Honestly, want to see the first couple to make sure I catch Matos too. Okay, yeah. So you're definitely gonna be seeing the first couple of games. Okay, cool. Yeah. So you'll be seeing Buzelis if he is playing, which you should be. I'd be shocked if he isn't playing on Friday. Yeah. Good luck, man. I'm jealous. I really want to go, but have fun, man. Get some good picks and bids. I remember tweeting out a whole bunch of things when I was there. Make sure, I will say, when the Bulls are playing, make sure you look for AK. He's most likely going to be wearing a hat with a brim and trying to hide his face. So try to make sure you find him. He does a good job of blending in and not showing his presence. So, but he'll most likely be closer to courtside, and he'll He's wearing a hat that covers up his face. So, normal baseball type of hat. But yeah, just be aware of that. Be ready for it. I don't know. Is CHGO going? I'm not sure if CHGO is going or not, but they usually go every year. I look for the Giant European. Yeah, he is very tall and skinny. He'll be kind of wearing like a sweatshirt usually. I think usually that's what he wears. I don't always remember. But yeah, it's just tall, skinny with the hat that tries to cover up his eyes. So he's very slick with it. It's very funny. Yeah, I definitely recommend just being on the lookout and looking for any Bulls players that show up. CHGO should be there. So if you want, I mean, I know like CHGO, like they kind of get their usual spots, but don't be afraid, bro. If you see Matt Peck, you know, Dave and Will Gottlieb, like if you have a chance to talk to them, go ahead and talk to them. I unfortunately was not able to do that, but I wanted to really badly. So yeah, have fun with it. It'll be a good time. Yeah. Once again, though, Summer League starts the 10th. So if you want to catch the first games of Summer League, it starts Thursday this week on the 10th. 2:30 p.m. Central Time. So obviously then it's 12:30 p.m. there in Las Vegas. But for us, it's gonna start around you know noon to 1 for most games. But Bulls' first game is on Friday. We'll be doing post-game stream on Friday here on this channel. Talk about what we saw. Yeah. I talked to CHGO cast. Yeah, man. Like I just think it's always a good thing to do. Yeah. When I talk to them, I'm pretty sure they're going, but I'm not entirely. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. But they usually go. They're usually out there. I know Matt just had surgery though, so maybe he might not be there. Honestly, Edgecombe looked great the other night, bro. Edgecombe, that game against Utah. Oh my god. Yeah, Edgecombe looks insane. Reason why I really like them. So yeah, Edgecombe looked phenomenal. Yeah. So honestly, I didn't even check these games. So like Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen are in this game. Pacers, Cavs. I don't remember who the Cavs drafted. Pacers traded out of the first round. OKC, obviously. They have Thomas Sorber. So, yeah, and then the Nets and their 5 first-round picks that they have, with Demon being the first one. So, yeah, I mean, there's always good matchups here. And this is definitely a really... assuming that Harper and Edgecombe are going to be playing in this game, like, this is definitely the matchup of the night. And they, of course, made sure it was the last game of the night. So Thomas and Mack is the bigger arena, so they did a good job with it. But yeah, this is a hell of a matchup, bro. I'm looking forward to this game. So no matter what, like I'm gonna be watching this game for sure. For the first day of Summer League. But yeah, Harper versus Edgecombe, bro. Oh my god, I cannot wait for that. Yeah, looking forward to it. I'm hoping everyone's gonna be playing. I know some people can kind of be held out in the first game or something, but yeah. Want to see Queen too? Yeah, I will also be interested in seeing Queen, how he does with the Pelicans. That's gonna be an interesting kind of guy to watch. I know a lot of Bulls fans wanted him, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna be intrigued by him. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about a couple other things before we officially do wrap up stream. And also, what time is it? Honestly, I don't even have my phone on me. Where? God, I'm listening. Okay. Sorry, I'm so sorry about this. Oh. I put my phone where I usually put my headphones. Sorry. Okay, let's see here. We're 8:20. Fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about this trade that we saw earlier. And then I want to talk about the Miles Turner stuff, where Miles Turner went to Milwaukee. So I did a react stream in the first day of free agency, but there was a lot of things that happened after that first day. Now I know it slowed down a lot, but we do have to talk about a couple of things. So the Miles Turner to Milwaukee is something I do want to talk about for sure. And then other things that you guys bring up that are important in some sense here. So yeah, let me know what you guys want to talk about. But I do want to talk about this deal, because this is actually a pretty significant deal overall. So again, forgetting the Bulls side for a second here. So Clippers, Jazz, Heat, they made this trade. So first and foremost, Norman Powell going to Miami for basically nothing is great by them. I think Miami did a phenomenal job of this deal. Norman Powell, I think, is a good fit for them. So intrigued to see what they do overall. I know that like Powell and like Hero play like the same position, but or I guess Hero's kind of playing point near the end of the season. But yeah, I think that having Powell is going to be great for Miami. They could use a scoring boost, and Powell definitely brought that. So I think that's a really good move by them. So I'm very intrigued by what Miami does here, because this is definitely not a move I expected from Miami. So let's see if they do anything else. John Collins to LA. So when I first saw this deal, I'm just like, I don't love this for LA. I understand that there's a lot of emphasis right now in the LA team to get Kawhi out of playing the 4. But I think that like my initial reaction was just like, I don't think that Collins is really a great fit for them. Collins is not like the best defender, and like the Clippers kind of always pride themselves on being like, you know, besides James Harden obviously, but like they kind of pride themselves on like having like good defenders kind of everywhere. From like basically like 2 through 5 is like good defenders. Like Zubac is a great defender. Like Chris Dunn starting in playoff games, right? But then you have like Nick Batum, you have Derrick Jones Jr. Even when Ben Simmons comes in, like he's a good defender, right? And then obviously you got Kawhi. But like Collins is not really a good defender by any means. But he does have size and obviously athleticism. So that was just kind of like my initial reaction. So like they're gonna be playing a lot of Collins at the 4, get move Kawhi to the 3. They're gonna be playing a lot of bigger basketball. Now I will say this. Them playing bigger, I think, is a good thing because of just the way that they play. Especially now with Harden and Kawhi kind of leading the charge for this moment in time, which we'll see how long that's going to last, honestly. Because the Clippers are setting themselves up for a 2026 massive offseason here. By getting bigger with the way that Harden and Kawhi play, where they play a lot slower with each other. Like especially in the half court, like Harden and Kawhi, they really slow down the tempo. Now they're great at what they do, obviously, but like getting those two guys, like, you know, Harden and Zubac in the pick and roll, and then Kawhi obviously in the ISOs, like playing bigger with that, I think is fine. Like that's a kind of good thing by them, is to just get bigger, and you know, get more offensive rebounds. And Collins can kind of shoot the 3 ball, like kind of. I honestly don't even know what he kind of shot last season. I need to look at that. Obviously if Collins can like shoot the 3 ball, that'd be pretty good for them. Honestly, he shot it pretty well last season. Okay, yeah, that's actually a really solid number for them. Could use more attempts for sure, but solid number in limited games for John Collins. So like if he can come in and be like that sort of 3-point shooter, kind of big 3-point shooter that gets more rebounds, like yeah, I can kind of see a world where this ends up being pretty effective for them. Now here's the big kicker though. Okay, I was just kind of just looking at this trade. I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, you added in more size, like, sure. But like, you also, as a Clippers team last season, you struggled to score a lot of moments. Like, the reason why Powell was so effective for you is because you had Harden and Zubac, but then like you didn't really have anybody else that could like go in and actually make some shots. Besides obviously Kawhi, but Kawhi wasn't healthy all season long, and we all know Kawhi Leonard's not gonna be playing the entire season. So that's kind of the reason why I'm just kind of looking at this. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, is this good? But the big news right now is that the Phoenix Suns and Bradley Beal are trying to get a buyout thing figured out. Beal is going to have to give up a large portion of his contract for the buyout to work. But it basically is kind of in the works at the moment. Reason being is that the problem right now, what's happening with the Phoenix Suns is that they've already have dead money on their books. Like they've already gone ahead and waived some people, and like you can only waive a certain amount of dead money, if you're wondering. So I forget who they waived, but yeah, I mean like they have this already on their books. So like basically you already have like $4 million already waived in dead money, and like they already had a stretch and waive Nasir Little. So it's just kind of like, all right, if you obviously try to stretch and waive Bradley Beal, then you have too much dead money that you stretched and waived. So it's just not possible. So Beal's gonna have to give up a massive amount of his contract to get out of Phoenix, so then they can go ahead and stretch and waive him. But basically though, what the kind of rumor is that this would then lead Bradley Beal to then go to LA. If you're wondering, well, what does LA have to offer? Good news for LA is that they've gone ahead and even with all the moves that they made, okay. Well, that's Lakers. Even with the moves that they made, which is that they brought back James Harden, which was good by them. They then also went ahead and they got Brook Lopez, which was a massive, I think, move by them. Like Zubac, and then you have Brook Lopez coming off the bench, I think is massive. Really good decision by them. And again, they're going to be playing slower next season, so getting a guy like Brook Lopez is perfectly fine to play slower. And I forget the other moves that they made, honestly. They probably made another move, but I'm just completely blanking on it right now. What else did they do? Anyway, basically though, they still have a decent amount of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception to offer something like Bradley Beal. So if you're wondering, they use 8.7 of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception to sign Brook Lopez. Again, the MLE is $14 million, so they have about $5.3 million left to go ahead and, like, if Bradley Beal does become available, then they would just go ahead and just sign Bradley Beal to, like, maybe that remaining amount, or maybe it's like 3 or 4 million. Who knows? The other thing that is kind of being rumored right now, and it's going to be very interesting to see, but Chris Paul is a free agent, and he's kind of announced that this is going to be his last year. But Chris Paul is his entire family's in LA, for obvious reasons. He played in LA for a long time. And then obviously when you go to Phoenix, like, it's not that far from LA. But Chris Paul, I mean, like, he's kind of said this is his last year, and he kind of wants to play closer to home, and, you know, be a dad for more time than not. So I won't lie, I don't know what Chris Paul is looking for in terms of his money. Like, it wasn't like he had like a great year overall last season, but I do think right now what's kind of happening is that the Clippers, because Harden is your point guard right now, but if you kind of look at the Clippers overall, like, team, like, you don't really have a backup point guard. Chris Dunn is not a point guard, really. Like, he's a perimeter defender. That's what I call him. He doesn't really play a position. He's just a perimeter defender. But I mean, you just kind of look at the team, you're just like, well, who plays backup point? There's also, again, like, just not a lot of ball handlers on the current squad. Like, I know, like, you have Harden and Kawhi, but like that's kind of it. So adding a guy like Chris Paul is honestly, like, not a bad decision by the Clippers at all. Funnily enough, I wouldn't mind them bringing back Westbrook either. I know that just kind of sounds insane, but, like, adding in, like, a Westbrook also wouldn't be too bad of a decision by them. And we'll see where Westbrook's gonna go here. We still haven't gotten his decision, I don't think. So, yeah, it's gonna be kind of interesting to see, but, like, that basically what I'm trying to say though is that the John Collins move made a lot more sense after, when I was looking at, like, people talking about, like, oh, Beal's probably going to the Clippers. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, if you get Bradley Beal, now it makes a hell of a lot more sense, right? You traded Norman Powell, who, like, he had a really good, like, Norman Powell had a fantastic year last season, and, like, arguably should have been, like, an all-star, but you're playing in the West, so I do apologize to Norman Powell. But, like, he had a really good year last season in terms of efficiency. He shot 48% from the field, 42% from three-point range on 7 attempts, 22 points per game, like, a significant amount of points increase per game compared to last season, which he mostly came off the bench in the previous year. But the problem was that as Kawhi then came back, he then got injured, and he is getting older. The Clippers did not want to offer him a contract extension because the Clippers are going to be preparing for the 2026 offseason, which they actually have the space to get a lot of money here, even with the Kawhi and potentially Harden deals on the books. But, like, there's a chance where they could actually create some cap space if they wanted to, you know, get rid of Bogdanovic's contract. Harden would have to re-sign for cheaper here, which I know this is a player option, but, like, he would have to re-sign for cheaper. But, like, there's actually, like, a world where this is, like, a possibility. But basically they just didn't want to re-sign Powell to a contract extension when he's, like, 32. And so you then trade that for John Collins, who won't be making $26 million a year in 2026. Like, in overall, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see a world where instead it's, hey, you go from Norman Powell, you traded for John Collins, and then you sign Bradley Beal. Like, that makes a lot more sense in my head than just Norman Powell for John Collins straight up. Like, that would make a lot more sense in my head if they can get Beal. But if they go ahead and also get CP3 as well, then I think the Clippers have had a pretty great offseason, all things considered. They got Harden back on a cheaper deal to make sure they had a little bit more overall space to kind of operate under, because the Clippers are not that far into the tax. They're going to be a tax team, but they're not that far, but they're hard capped at the first apron right now because they use their non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So they're hard capped at the first apron. But if the offseason is that you re-signed Harden to a cheaper deal, you brought in Brook Lopez, you then traded Norman Powell for John Collins, and you bring in Bradley Beal and CP3, like, that's a fantastic offseason, at least in my opinion, for everything that they had available to them. That's pretty good. The only guy that I'm kind of maybe looking for them to move is Bogdanovich, but they might just keep him at the end of the day because now you traded Norman Powell away. Bogdanovich is going to kind of just like fill that role for them as a, you know, designated shooter, good three-point shooter, etc. So yeah, I think that's kind of the big thing from this deal is that, like, hey, don't just take this deal straight up. Like, kind of look for the Clippers to go ahead and make another move here. So it'll be interesting just to kind of see. Miami, obviously, they got Norman Powell. They also need a scoring boost. So getting Norman Powell, I think, is a good decision. Now, the other thing again is like, hey, you have some salary cap flexibility for the 2026 season. So Norman Powell, again, last year of his contract, makes a lot of sense. So this is not that shocking to see. But Miami's going to try to be competitive again this season, so getting Norman Powell is pretty good. You know, not having Terry Rozier be a guy to go out and do all, you know, his terrible decisions instead of Norman Powell, I think is a good decision overall. And we'll see what else they do here. So, like the deal for Miami, they got Norman Powell for basically Kevin Love, who was just a bench guy and locker room guy, and Kyle Anderson's like a good player, but like he's not anything special. Definitely isn't Norman Powell for sure. And so then obviously we talked about Utah earlier. Utah is, if you're wondering what they're doing, they're setting themselves up to take draft picks or take bad contracts for draft picks in 2026. So they obviously wanted to trade John Collins last year of his contract, get some value back for him. They did. Kyle Anderson's on a non-guaranteed deal in 2026, so there's that. And then Kevin Love will most likely get bought out. They got a second-round pick for John Collins as well in this deal, so they're fine. They got something for John Collins. Yeah, overall, it looks pretty good from all sides. So, like the deal overall for everybody. And interested to see what the Clippers do after. I think LAC's gonna miss Powell a bit, but I mean, yeah, like that's, if they can get Beal, they won't miss him as much, obviously. But they got to get Beal. I do think that getting Beal now is a very important decision for the Clippers now. So I'm looking forward to seeing they can do that. Auditions bigger than what people expect. I do think it's a little bit going a little bit under the radar. I do think Miami is a little bit of a scary team just because I think Bam last season had a bad overall year for his standards. Now, granted, again, it was an Olympic year for these guys. So, like, I'm not exactly like shocked to kind of see some of these guys kind of maybe look a little bit more worn down than usual. And Bam, I do think looked a little bit more worn down than usual. Now, I will say, I am a little bit concerned about his age maybe playing a factor all of a sudden. But, like, this was definitely a down year for Bam. Like, he shot under 50% from the field. That has never happened in his career. He averaged less rebounds per game than last season. His blocks per game went down as well. Like, this was not a good overall season from Bam. He was also just missing a lot of shots he usually makes, just in general, where he's, like, kind of open. So, like, we're hoping for a better season if you're Miami from Bam. But, like, Hero obviously took a massive step in his first All-Star team last season. And I don't know if he's going to get better than this. Like, this is, like, kind of where I think he's just going to be as a player. But now you have Hero and you added in Powell. Like, that's a pretty nice trio. Now, it's not, I don't think it's better than Cleveland. I don't know if I would pick them over Orlando at this moment in time. But it's a nice trio to have. Add in Wiggins, right? And the Miami culture, right? They're going to still be competitive. I have no doubt they'll still be competitive, and, you know, they'll probably make the playoffs again. We'll see how far they actually go. And Darius makes a good point. Like, if Ware makes a big jump, like, then they actually start to be, like, a big threat. But I do think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for them to, like, get past, like, some of, like, the like the Cavs or like the Magic. But we'll see. Definitely interesting. East is wide open, so hey, just being kind of good might be good enough to get the 4 seed in this year for the Eastern Conference. Never been a fan of Collins. Collins is definitely a guy that I'm not exactly the biggest fan of either, but I can kind of see some value when he's playing next to a Kawhi Leonard and Harden. I do think we might see some like Collins, like maybe he plays a little bit of 5. I kind of doubt it though. I mean, Zubac and Lopez should be like your, I think your 2 5 guys, but John Collins being thrown an alley-oops from Harden is a good decision. So yeah. Help the matchup with Denver a little bit. Yeah, I guess it could help them a little bit against Denver just to add some more size. Maybe muck up the game a little bit better. I could maybe see a world where John Collins is better against Denver. Yeah, I can kind of see it. I think Milwaukee would be a good fit for Westbrook. That's actually not a bad call either. Getting Westbrook to Milwaukee is not a bad decision. Kind of shocked we haven't figured out where Westbrook's going yet. I'm kind of wondering if he's actually kind of thinking about retirement. I would hate to see it. I love Westbrook, man. Like, he's one of my favorite players ever. But I would not be shocked if he just kind of just like, yeah, I'm just kind of done. You know, here's his numbers from this past season, which was better than the previous year with LA. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Westbrook to Milwaukee would definitely be interesting. The spacing with him and Giannis would not be great, but I think at this point, the Bucks just kind of need a guy just to have the ball in their hands and kind of do things. So, yeah. Powell should have won Most Improved Player last year. I think there's definitely an argument for it, for sure. Yeah. I might be okay if Ware makes a big jump. Yeah, yeah. I do think if Ware makes a big jump, like, oh yeah, they'll be in good business. Overall, though, like, I think the team itself, like, right now is constructed, even if Ware doesn't make a big jump, I think they're pretty good. Westbrook has heart, but shooting percentage is his weakness. Yeah, I mean, his shooting percentage is obviously god-awful. Free throw line, 3-point shot, and then even just in general from the field, it's pretty bad at this moment in his career. But for a guy that, if you can, like, put him in a specific role, like, with what he can do, I think he's a pretty effective player still. Yeah, I love Westbrook, man. Like, Westbrook, like, I've always, when I kind of said in, like, my, like, in the 10s decade, like, the Thunder were, like, my second team. Like, the Bulls were always number 1, but, like, the Thunder were, like, my number 2. Like, that's definitely not the case now. I don't even know who would be my second team at this moment in time. I probably don't even have one. I'm just an NBA fan. But Westbrook was the reason why I love the Thunder. Like, he was the sole reason why I love this Thunder squad. And he just, bro, these years, man, the MVP year, just like, he just had just insane years. I was just so fun to watch him. So, I hope he doesn't hang it up yet, man. I think I don't know where he is in the all-time scoring ranks, but, like, I want him to get up higher. He's obviously he's a Hall of Famer just from his, 3 triple-double seasons. But, yeah, I really hope that he can, continue to find a good place to be. And, like, we saw him last season, like, it wasn't always perfect. Like, I know, like, the whole meme about him being, like, the Mario Kart, like, question mark block. Like, that was, like, a legit perfect tweet when that got tweeted out, because it's like, yeah, I don't really know what you're gonna get from him sometimes. But Westbrook, man, like, if you were able to put him in a role where he can just go out and just kind of be, like, his explosive self, and, some of his, like, kind of boneheaded decisions aren't gonna really matter too much, like, he'll be an effective player for you. You have to take the good with the bad sometimes. And his good, like, especially what we saw last season, definitely outweighed the bad. Now, granted, here's the thing. Jokic does a lot. And I do think that Westbrook and Jokic, they had a nice chemistry going, and Westbrook did Jokic did a hell of a job with Westbrook. Like, Jokic did a lot for Westbrook, like he does with a lot of players. So maybe it was more Jokic than what Westbrook was able to do. The thing is, though, is that I thought that even this year with the Clippers, I thought that Westbrook was still actually pretty effective with this Clippers team. It was just the problem was that in the playoffs, it just, like, kind of went downhill really quickly. But with that being said, like, especially for a team out west, like, obviously you need playoff performers, but out west right now, bro, like, you need to make sure you make the playoffs out west at this current moment in time. The West is an absolute just battleground, and having just more of a regular season type of guy on your squad, bro, like, it's kind of important. And so, like, having Westbrook kind of be, like, your sixth man, like, and he can actually come in and be effective sixth man, like, yeah, he might not be effective in the playoffs necessarily, but like having it just be your sixth man and like kind of get you a few extra wins in the season, like that would be pretty effective, honestly. So I hope he comes back. I can definitely see him just retiring, but I really hope he comes back and, you know, gets at least one more year from him. Westbrook went to my high school right around the corner from my school. Oh, bro, that's crazy, man. Wow. So yeah, Westbrook was close to your school. That's insane. Yeah, California guy. Did you ever view Westbrook as a stat pattern, especially with his rebounding? No, I never did. Westbrook with his rebounding was actually, like, to me, it was almost like vital that he went and got those rebounds. That Thunder squad where he won the MVP, like, to me, when I looked at that team, him getting those rebounds were actually pretty vital, because the Thunder squad as a whole was awful in the half court. And so if Westbrook's able to go out and get the rebound and then push the tempo, like, it was so much more beneficial for the squad for him to do that versus him to be a run out on the fast break and not have the ball in his hands. Like, it actually, to me, was vital that he went out and got those rebounds. Yeah, God, I forgot he averaged another year in OKC where he had a triple-double. Okay, I am so bad with my years. Yeah, he had 3 years of averaging a triple-double, bro. Like, that's crazy in OKC, and then he had the extra year in Washington where he also averaged a triple-double. So, yeah, he's just crazy to me. He's absolutely insane. But yeah, to me, Westbrook was never a stat pattern. He's a very, very good playmaker. Like, people don't give enough credit for what he did in terms of his playmaking. His explosiveness just drew a lot of defenders towards him, which opened up a lot of his teammates. He, at least in my opinion, could have averaged a lot more of assists if he just had better players around him. The Thunder just didn't have many good players around him to actually make some shots. Like, if you're remembering Andre Roberson for the Thunder, Andre Roberson was a hell of a defender, but he would start under Billy Donovan, and it was not great, honestly. You know, Roberson's a hell of a defender, but the dude couldn't make a damn shot for his life. Yeah, this guy, bro, this guy was a starting shooting guard for the Thunder for many years, and he shot a whopping 25% from three-point range in his career. Never shot better than 31% in a season and in his career from three-point range. Again, hell of a defender, not taking that away from him, but if Westbrook just had a competent shooting guard next to him for his MVP caliber seasons, then I think he could have averaged a lot more of assists than just like 10. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, you know, stat pattern when it doesn't average that many assists. I'm just like, I feel like that number should have been a lot higher, honestly. Because, bro, this guy would just collapse defenses, and he would find them really well. It's just that the Thunder can't make any damn shots for him, unfortunately. Westbrook is a very feast or famine. Decision making can either win you a game and come up huge, or cost you and lose a game. There's usually no in between. Oh, for sure. But again, I think the good outweighs the bad for that. Paul George, Melo, and KD wasn't enough. So that team obviously was a lot better. But I'm talking about his MVP years. Like, do you not? Okay, let me just bring up this year. Okay, like this is the first year under the MVP year for the Thunder. Let me go. Gotta go to this. Let's go to. Like, do you guys understand how bad this team is? Like, this team is awful. Like, this team sucked. The fact that the Westbrook got them to the 6th seed is insane to me. Samaj Christian was the guy that he got the assist for Westbrook to officially get Westbrook the triple-double for the season. But I mean, look at this team. This team is absolute just garbage. And I'm like, oh, like people are calling him stat pattern or whatever. I'm just like, well, like I feel like he should have a lot more of assists for everything he does, but this team's just god awful. And he just didn't have anybody to make some damn shots for him, but they still somehow got to the 6th seed, which is just insane to me. Yeah, that team, like, definitely, I'm like, no, Westbrook should have had more. Now the following year, where they traded for Paul George and they traded for Melo, like, yeah, that's a different story. Like, this is definitely a team that underperformed. They got the 4th seed. I thought they were gonna be the team to beat the Warriors. They didn't. This year, that it definitely should have been better. Now, the problem was, though, is that after this year, then obviously Melo's gone, and Melo's no longer himself anymore, but, like, it's back to just kind of being bad. Like, Paul George is here, and this is when Paul George had his MVP caliber season, but like, look at who's around. Like, it's just Steven Adams was playing good, but then Alex Abrines just kind of left in the middle of the season for them. Hamidou Diallo, you guys remember him? Deontay Burton, you guys remember him? Like, these guys aren't good around him. Jeremy Grant wasn't wasn't as good as he was, and like they got Dennis Schroeder in that Melo deal. So like these teams weren't great overall for Westbrook. Besides that, obviously the Melo and Paul George year. I think that like that's just me like saying like, oh, the stat pattern for Westbrook. I'm just like, no, this guy was insane. I feel like these numbers could have been better. If you just had better teammates just to get him higher assists. He's a legend in my eyes. Yeah, he's definitely a legend, bro. And so, oh yeah, I mean, earlier years for Westbrook, yeah, Cephalosha was also there. But I'm not really counting. I'm not talking about those years specifically. I'm just talking about like when he was getting these triple doubles. A lot of people were talking about stat padding. I'm just like, bro, like I don't know where the Thunder team would be without him getting these numbers, bro. His Thunder team would be nowhere if he wasn't putting up these level of insane, like unheard of numbers. Like, again, only Oscar Robertson never did it before. Now, obviously, Jokic has done it, but yeah, this wasn't normal. Like, this is definitely not normal. We don't ever see this. So yeah, this was definitely not the norm at the time. He was straight up just carrying a team. Oh, sorry. Alright, my White Sox are getting wrecked. So, also Montgomery threw a walk. All right, good job, Rook. All right, Miles Turner talk. I want to talk about this Miles Turner stuff here because it is important to talk about. So, let's talk about this. Did Andrew Vaughn actually hit a homer today? I'm gonna lose my mind. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause the music here, but if we can remind ourselves of what happened, Miles Turner signed a contract with the Milwaukee Bucks this offseason. It was the second day of free agency for all of us. Miles Turner is going to be heading to Milwaukee. It was kind of a shocking whole thing because Milwaukee, heading into the offseason, I'm just like, well, I don't know what Milwaukee's going to do. But they went ahead and made some massive deals. And they made some pretty insane decisions overall. And the biggest one is that they decided to stretch and waive Lillard. This is a massive thing that happened. And what this did, though, is that this opened up enough salary cap space to go ahead and get Miles Turner and with salary cap space. So the Milwaukee Bucks were able to get Miles Turner because they stretched and waived Lillard. Now, Lillard was making a ton of money. And he obviously tore his ACL or his Achilles. So I won't lie. So his contract, by the way, if you're wondering, this was his last guaranteed year of his contract for the Bucks. Of course, we're not gonna be able to see it, but he then had a player option, if I'm not mistaken, for the following season. And I won't lie, I kind of think that Lillard was gonna decline that option anyway. The Giannis and Lillard combination just wasn't really working. In my head, it really should work, but it just wasn't working. So, Giannis very clearly signed off on this because, I mean, you have to get Giannis's approval for this deal, for this move to happen. And so, Lillard gets waived and stretched. And the Bucks are gonna have all this dead money on the books for forever, now, which is gonna be very funny to look at. But, this did then open up a salary cap space to get Miles Turner. And, Miles Turner is just the projected numbers, but he then goes to Milwaukee and kind of just fills the Brook Lopez role where it's a big man that blocks shots, shoots threes, and doesn't rebound. So perfect next to Giannis because Giannis needs that stretch five to play alongside, and they got that. Turner's also obviously younger, more athletic than Brook Lopez, and so the fit overall should be good because we just saw Brook Lopez and how well the Brook Lopez played next to Giannis. Miles Turner is younger, more athletic. I don't know if he's a better shooter or not, honestly, but obviously just getting younger and more athletic is a good thing. Again, he doesn't really rebound, but Brook Lopez doesn't really rebound either. So kind of works out all in all here. Bucks then brought back Bobby Portis. They brought back Kevin Porter Jr. Screw that guy. I don't like this guy. But then they also just recently, this was announced, I think today, or maybe it was yesterday. They brought back Ryan Rollins, which I think was honestly pretty important. Pretty good shooter for them, so that's important. Gary Trent Jr. is back on a pretty cheap deal. But then they brought in Gary Harris, who I think is pretty overrated. But then they brought back Torian Prince on a nice deal. So, and Jericho Sims also was brought in. He's probably someone I value a little bit too much, but nice contract, honestly. They did a good job with it. So, Bucks were an under the salary cap team because of the Lillard whole thing. And yep, they have all this dead cap on them now, moving forward. But Miles Turner to Milwaukee, bro. I just look at this, I'm just like, holy shit. Like, I don't really know what to think about it. Like, the Bucks are, I don't know if they're gonna make any more moves here. I feel like another move has to be coming, which is probably gonna involve Kyle Kuzma or something. But like, just this team alone is not that great. Assuming Giannis does stay healthy, like, he'll get you 45 wins in a season, especially in the Eastern Conference. But this team isn't amazing. Like, I look at this team and I'm just like, like, I don't love this team. You kept some important pieces around Giannis. Like, I think keeping Gary Trent Jr. and Torian Prince was very important. Like, these guys are very important to keep around. You got them for cheap. Good job. The KPJ, I know he had a good March. I don't really believe it, though. And Kyle Kuzma had a horrible playoffs, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to move him, but who knows, honestly. They might actually really value him. But I don't really know what the plan is, besides that maybe trading Kuzma for someone better. So, I'm hoping they have some more ideas up their sleeve here, but I'm not entirely sure. Keeping Portis is obviously huge. They need to keep him. But I think, honestly, just, like, the idea is, like, hey, we just need to just kind of tread water. So, they were the 5 seed last season. The Pacers are not going to be as good as last season because Halliburton's out. No Celtics, you would think, but I think the Celtics could actually still be pretty good even without Tatum. So it's Cavs, it's Magic, it's Knicks, and then Pistons. And so you're just kind of betting that Giannis is just going to somehow get you, like, higher seeds than those guys. I don't know, honestly. I don't love it, but if there's ever a time just to kind of be like, hey, Giannis, just, like, lead us as far as possible, it would be this time. He is that good. People forget how good Giannis still is. And so I don't mind them doing everything they can to keep Giannis. I think that is the correct decision for them. I think that's a good thing that they're trying to do, but they better have some plans moving forward because I don't know where they're going after this. So very interesting decision. Miles Turner leaving Indiana is also pretty shocking to me, and this was then kind of what was brought up then about this whole thing. Kevin Pritchard, the Indiana Pacers GM here, had this to say.
Miles, because
Sorry, one second. Sorry, one second. Now music's off. There we go. Whoops, sorry. And now I have this pulled up finally for you guys, so now you can listen to it now.
I don't want to get into the specifics of Miles because the truth is he gave 10 great years here. I loved having him be here. I hope I'm friends with him for a long time. I know this, that Herb Simon,
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for coming. Thank you for checking in. Appreciate it.
We're fully prepared to go deep into the tax to keep him. And we really wanted to do that. And we were negotiating in good faith. But what happens in this league is sometimes you're negotiating, but because a guy is unrestricted, he has the right to say, that's the offer I want, I'm going to take it, and that's best for my family. And again, we were in good faith negotiations. It was a little surprising that, how Milwaukee created that. I don't know if, we always...
Okay, so basically I just want to play that part for you guys because I do think this is actually really interesting. I know a lot of people don't really value some of this stuff, but at least in my opinion, this is actually pretty interesting. So the initial thoughts that we had was that, the Pacers didn't want to go into the luxury tax because Tyrese Halliburton's out, and so because the Tyrese Halliburton injury happened, then they're not really willing to pay Miles Turner as much money as he probably wanted. Therefore, Miles Turner then got lowballed by Indiana, and then he just decided to head out to Milwaukee. And granted, if I was Indiana, even if I'm actually planning on heading into the tax, like, I would still lowball Miles Turner just because I don't really see teams with salary cap space. And the fact that the Pacers or the Bucks actually created this is insane to me, but they did it. Props to them. But if you're wondering, when Miles Turner got this offer, he didn't go back to the Pacers and say, hey, I got this offer from Milwaukee. Are you guys willing to match it? And according to Kevin Pritchard, at least, it sounded like the owners were willing to actually go into the luxury tax. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. General manager's save face. But Kevin Pritchard at least sounded like that he was willing to go into the luxury tax to keep Miles Turner. But they just decided to lowball him because they didn't really see teams out there with salary cap space. Also, I do think that the center market is a little bit inflated, just a little bit. And so they're trying to get Miles Turner, who's kind of declining overall for what he's done recently, but still obviously important for them, on a cheaper overall contract because it's going to help them moving forward. And he just left to Milwaukee. So it's just kind of interesting to hear this because it's like, I don't really know what exactly did happen. We've kind of known that the Pacers really hate Milwaukee, which is why that first round matchup was kind of crazy. The Pacers really hate Milwaukee, and Milwaukee really hates the Pacers. And so to see Miles Turner just suddenly, who's been the longest tenured Pacer, go to Milwaukee was just kind of shocking. To kind of just be like, wow, like this just happened. First and foremost, the move itself is insane because, the Bucks had to stretch and waive Lillard, but just knowing the rivalry between these two teams was kind of crazy. But then finding out that, hey, the Pacers were willing to go into luxury tax to keep Miles Turner. They just lowballed him early, which again, I would have done it too. But they were willing to actually pay Miles Turner probably this exact contract, but Turner just decided not to go back to them. Was pretty shocking. So it's a pretty big deal overall for the Pacers. However, I will say this. I do think that Miles Turner was the fourth best defender for that Pacers squad in the starting lineup. I trust Caitlin Cooper on this. If you haven't followed her Twitter account, she has done an amazing work when it comes to Indiana Pacers basketball. She is a better film breakdown better film breakdown person than a lot of people in the entire world. But she's been doing finals coverage and everything. But like she kind of said like, yeah, if there's a defender that the Pacers would be willing to give up, it would probably be Miles Turner. And it's just because of how well Aaron Nesmith, Nemhard, and Siakam are as defenders. This is not to knock Miles Turner. It's just kind of the reality of where Miles Turner is as a player right now, where less points per game, but again, you did bring in Siakam and like other guys kind of stepped up. Blocks are, still kind of where they're at, but like we saw kind of Turner a little bit like with his mobility kind of maybe slow down a little. So like still good defender. I'm just like, they're just kind of saying like the Indiana defense is more so about what guys like Andrew Nemhard were doing, what guys Aaron Nesmith was doing, and obviously Siakam's insane overall, just kind of mobility. It's like these guys were the reasons why the defense was so good. Turner obviously is important. Having the shot blocker is always important. But these guys still, at least in her eyes, were like didn't get enough credit. So it interesting to see overall. So I don't really know where the Pacers go from this. I think obviously now it's like, okay, how do we replace him? I will say they were missing Isaiah Jackson pretty badly this season. He went down pretty early. So I really think that they were missing this guy, and he would have been pretty helpful for them. I don't think he just kind of suddenly starts, but I do think that he was, if he can come back and be effective, like this will kind of be like your kind of middle ground guy to kind of get you to the following season. But if the Pacers are actually willing to pay the tax, which it seems like they are, there's a lot of options available. Go get those options. Like, especially for that 2026 offseason, like there's gonna be a lot of options available. So you better be ready to open up your wallet if you're the Pacers, because Halliburton will be back. Assuming you're gonna be keeping Siakam, Nemhard, and Nesmith, like you'll have the core four guys. But you need to go make sure you find your center. And I overall Like, I know they haven't really done a lot this offseason, but like they've done a decent job overall with some of their moves this offseason. But they gotta continue making good moves. So looking forward to seeing oh yeah, Jay Huff. I forgot about Jay Huff, honestly. Yeah, that trade just happened. So yeah, Jay Huff, he was on Memphis, right? Or am I tripping over where he was? He was on Memphis, right? Yeah, okay, I'm not tripping. Yeah. So I do think Jay Huff is pretty decent. Like, he's not Miles Turner, obviously. But he is pretty decent. Shot the 3-ball well last season, so he'll definitely get a lot of run for this upcoming season. Do I think Jay Huff's going to be your starting center on a finals caliber squad? No. But for just this upcoming year, like, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead. Like, this is smart by them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Pacers do. Let's see if Kevin Pritchard's going to continue being smart, or are they going to settle? I am a little bit worried about that for a Pacers team. Like, are they just going to kind of settle kind of where they're at overall? So, yeah. Has anyone making as much money as Lillard been stretched and waived before? No, this is the biggest stretch and wave in NBA history. Not in terms of just the amount of money that player is getting, but also in terms of the amount of salary cap space it is taking up. That is the biggest stretch and wave in NBA history in terms of how much salary cap space each year for Lillard is going to be taking up, which is the $22 million, and what even is it? It's a lot of money. 14.6% of the salary cap. Like, so just in comparison, if you're wondering, Josh Smith got waived for the Detroit Pistons. Okay, this was the contract that we're all like kind of comparing it to, but I think it was this season for Josh Smith. It was on, I don't even remember, honestly. Maybe it was the following year. But okay, yeah. So oh, actually I'm wrong. Ooh. Okay, so Josh Smith's actual cap hit was actually larger than I thought it was. Okay, my bad. So Josh Smith's cap hit is still the largest in terms of the 1 year dead money overall. But I think in terms of like how long this goes for Lillard, this will still take up more overall cap space than Josh Smith's did. But I'm not entirely sure. Let me look at this really quickly. Like, obviously then next season. Okay, yeah, like then obviously we see here that this went down significantly. So yeah. So it is definitely a ton of money that Lillard got stretched and waived for. It's a ton of money. Don't love that for the Milwaukee Bucks, but it is definitely very intriguing. Yeah. It's because Giannis didn't like what they did with Dame. So Chris Haynes, bro. Chris Haynes tweeted that out. I don't like, that's not something that needs to be tweeted out, at least in my opinion. Chris Haynes is, I think he has familial ties to Lillard, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's correct, but I'm not entirely sure if that is correct or not. But either way, though, like, you're talking about, like, if it was up to what I personally think happened, again, it's just speculation. It's not factual. I think Lillard's camp threw that out there and told Chris Haynes to tweet that. And just to kind of make it look like, oh, Giannis was, like, you know, pissed off about it, and, like, Lillard's, you know, just to kind of save face for Lillard a little bit. But I'm not entirely sure. It makes Lillard look a lot better if that's what did happen. But I'm not really sure, honestly. But yeah, I don't really know what to really believe about it. I just personally, the way I look at it is that Giannis has had control of this team before. He signed off on the Drew Holiday deal. That's been confirmed. And I'm talking about when they traded for Drew Holiday. To me, I don't think that deal happens unless Giannis signs off on it. So I think that Giannis had control over this personally, but that's just a guess. Gary Harris is decent. I think Gary Harris is a little bit overrated. He'll fit better. He'll fit nice next to Giannis though. I see Detroit, Atlanta, and Orlando making jumps. Yeah, those are the teams I do see making some pretty significant jumps. Like, Detroit should be making a jump. I mean, assuming. I do think if Malik Beasley is actually caught with this whole gambling thing, then it'll be very funny to look at. But they'll definitely, like, replacing Malik Beasley with, you know, Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert is a good, like, they're fine. But Jaden Ivey coming back, I think, is going to be a big key factor for them. And he's gonna have to take a big step forward for their overall game plan. But yeah, I do think that Detroit should be making a jump here. And then Atlanta, like, assuming Atlanta will figure it out, because they've had a great offseason so far. They should be fine, but we'll see. It's interesting to see with Atlanta. Atlanta's in an interesting spot. Like, I don't love their team, but I love the moves that they made. Overall, though, I'm not like in love with this team. Getting Null was good. Kennard's decent. Could be better though. The whole draft pick situation that they did was great. But Jalen Johnson's got to come back and be good, and Okongwu's got to step up and be really good for them. So yeah. Porzingis, man, I'm just my biggest fear for Atlanta right now is that this Porzingis whole thing, like his sickness in the playoffs, like, I don't know how much that was sickness or how much he's just kind of declining as a player. I am kind of worried that like he was just kind of declining, and even this year wasn't like the best year for Porzingis in general. So I'm a little bit concerned about this, but he isn't expiring, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And I'm just I'm so worried about the games played for this, but honestly, I thought he averaged less points per game. I did not think it was 19 and a half. I thought this was like 17, but yeah, we'll see. Atlanta's definitely intriguing. Yeah, if Jalen Johnson can come in and still be Jalen Johnson, then they're looking pretty good. I have no idea what they'll get from Porzingis. Yeah, he is definitely just like, all right, toss it up. We'll see where it lands at. I hope it's gonna work out though. The idea of Porzingis and Trae Young and Jalen Johnson with Okongwu and others, like, it sounds good. It's just like there's just some holes and weaknesses on the roster that I'm a little bit concerned about. What other perimeter shot making you have besides Trae Young? Like, it's gonna have to be Jalen Johnson, but like, is he ready? Dyson Daniels is obviously good. But yeah, this is a lot of money to get for Nah, but I do like Nah overall. Risa Shea, I'm not the biggest fan of him, unfortunately. So they're in a good spot though. Like the where they're at in terms of like salaries and like draft picks and everything, they're in a good spot. Let's just hope they don't screw it up for them. That's kind of the big hope, honestly. All right. With that being said, though, I have covered what I personally want to cover. So, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before I go ahead and end the stream here? All right, it looks like that's it. So, I know that there's been other moves. I might be missing a big one here, but I know that that's pretty much it. But I know that there's been other things going around. Like, I'll just shout out the Magic with the Mo Wagner contract. That was pretty good. What they did. So I like what the Magic are doing. I think they're doing a good job. I think my friend David should be pleased with what's going on. So. Yeah, we're like Darius just said, like, we are waiting on this Josh Giddey situation still. We're kind of just in limbo with it. Again, don't be shocked if how long this is going to take. This could take past July. Like, it is a possibility. But just to recap, I mean, I don't think this Utah thing is a big deal. Like, I don't see Utah becoming a salary cap team. Therefore, it's like, how are you going to get Josh Giddey then if you're not going to be a salary cap team? Again, they have to renounce their trade exceptions to become a salary cap team, and I just don't think they're going to do that. But they could. There's a possibility they definitely could. Again, a Markkanen trade. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're gonna trade Markkanen, but like, if you trade Markkanen, you gotta take back like the similar amount of salary. So I don't really know if that's even a possibility at this moment in time. I feel like they're just gonna keep Markkanen, honestly. So I don't think Utah's really a threat to just kind of just something give Giddey a contract, but I could be wrong. We'll see though. But if I make a guess, I don't think they're gonna be a threat. With that being said, though, Giddey has to lower his amount he's wanting. $30 million for his type of player is just too much right now. The salary cap is not increasing as much as we thought. He needs to lower his salary demands. Bulls and him just can kind of meet in the middle. Like, the Bulls want $20 million. Giddey wants 30 million, meet somewhere like around 25. If it's like 27 or more, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. Bulls had a leverage. You don't need to get him to 27 or more. If it's 26-ish, I'll be pretty disappointed, but I can kind of live with it. If it's 25, like, hey, that's fine. That's just a fine contract. If it's lower than that, then it's the Bulls did pretty good. Obviously, if you could get it like 22 or lower, then it's like the Bulls did good. So, I personally think the Bulls just need to hold out on this. Again, Giddey, like, you're kind of just basically daring him to take this qualifying offer. If you're wondering about that being an actual threat, like, yeah, that is something Giddey could do. But that's a lot of money that Giddey is basically turning down, guaranteed money that Giddey would be turning down. There is a lot of cap space for the 2026 offseason, and Giddey would be an unrestricted free agent. The thing is, though, is one, the Bulls can offer the most amount of money of any team. So, again, if this is all really about money, then you want to stay with the Bulls. Two, I think that the salary cap space for the 2026 offseason will not be used on guys like Josh Giddey. I think it'll be used on a lot of different other players because there's going to be a lot more free agents available as well. Hence why people are setting up for that offseason. So, either way, even if, let's say, Giddey does take the qualifying offer, I think it's a perfectly fine thing for the Bulls. Because then you get another year just to kind of see where he's at. And then, yeah, he'll have more leverage because he's an unrestricted free agent. But it's fine for the Bulls overall because his contract won't be on the books then for the 2026 offseason or 2026 season yet. I don't really know what his cap hold would be. That's going to be kind of something I need to look into. But, like, his cap hold shouldn't be that big. So then you can just re-sign Giddey with your bird rights and go over the salary cap with your bird rights then. So use your cap space, then re-sign Josh Giddey. And then if he wants a lot of money then, like, that's fine to me. But he has to obviously go and get, like, he needs to go earn that money. So if he takes the qualifying offer and plays bad, then guess what? You didn't earn $30 million a year. So, again, I think the Bulls are in a really good spot right now with how this contract negotiation is going to be working out. I am just very scared that the front office is going to find a way to mess it up. I think they'll find a way to just overpay, even though when they didn't need to do that. You need to find a way to win this negotiation. So get the number closer to 20 versus the number closer to 30. Like, you got to get closer to 20 in this deal, in this deal overall. So, I do think that what you're gonna probably see is that because the Bulls and Giddey's camp are probably so far apart right now, I think that you're probably gonna see the Giddey's camp go to, like, hey, let's do a 3-year contract. It might be descending, so, like, there'll be more money at the start of the contract, and then it will descend each year, and that gets Giddey to 7 years of service time. Once you get to 7 years of service time, then you can get up to 30% of the salary cap for a max contracts, and because right now he only get 25. So that would kind of be the game plan, I think, for Giddey's camp if, like, this just continues to go on. So it would not be 30 million a year, obviously, but it'd be like probably like 26 would be the starting year. It would descend each year for a 3-year contract, and then so it gets Giddey some guaranteed money early, and then he'll hit unrestricted free agency, in 3 years. Like, that would kind of be the plan, maybe. That's fine with me. I'm perfectly fine with that too. But again, they have to get these demands lower. Like, this whole $30 million is just insane from Giddey. He's just not going to get it right now. So, we will see. We will see how long this will take. How long does he have to take the qualifying offer? It's basically there the entire offseason. Like, there is really no, there really is no kind of time limit for it. So, I don't really think that there's a time limit on that, honestly. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is a, let me just quickly look. I guess it's October 1st, but I mean, like, we're talking training camp. So, yeah, it's October 1st. Yeah, so October 1st is the deadline for Giddey to accept the qualifying offer, which I just think that, like, if you're wondering, it's not a good move for him overall money-wise for him to accept that. Like, he would have to then, if you're wondering, like, he would have to then get a pretty massive contract to kind of make up for lost ground for if he did accept the qualifying offer, which is why his team and representatives probably won't take it. Okay, I'd be okay if he does take it. I'd be fine. I'm here chilling. But the problem is though is that if he takes the qualifying offer, then you're missing out on the money he would be making this season, right? And so then the next contract has to make up for this upcoming season if he's on the qualifying offer. So like it just like he's just kind of then behind a year in terms of the amount of money he could be making. Now obviously if he goes out and balls out, right, then you're getting the most money you can possible. But the problem is though is that it's not like his salary, like he can still only get 25% of salary cap next season still. Like you can't suddenly get more of the salary cap until you hit, I think, year 7. Yeah, so it's something that he's just gonna have to kind of wait around for. Hence why I'm just like you guys got to come to some sort of deal now. Get your demands lower and come to like a 3-year deal. I want to tell you that in Greece there's a lot of rumors that Olympiacos trying to sign Vucevic. Really? Don't know how to say your name because that's in letters I don't understand. Maybe that's Greek. I don't know how to. Do you follow my Twitter? I don't know what your name is, but I appreciate this info. Do you follow my Twitter? If you're able to, DMs are always open, so let me know about that. I have not heard this at all. Is this news that just kind of broke during the stream, or because I have not heard about this at all? So let me know. Yeah, let me know if that is news and like there's like a Twitter source or something. Like send it to me on Twitter. I'm George. Okay, I'll send you a DM. Okay, yeah. Send that to me on Twitter. Let me read into that. I'm quickly doing a Google search about it, but hold on. Are you able to send it right now, or should I wait to see this off stream, George? Oh, in Greek media? I see. Okay. Still send it to me. I'll look at this off stream. I do want to look at this off stream. I appreciate this a lot, though. Thank you for this update. Yeah, wait, okay. Got it. Because I'm just doing a quick Google search. Like I'm not seeing anything on Google about it. So like, yeah, this must be like Greek media only. I appreciate chat's patience here. And I do apologize that you can't send links in chat. I know it's really annoying, but it's just a YouTube thing. I can't change it, unfortunately. So I do apologize about this. I wish I could change it. I would allow links in chat if it was up to me, but I am not able to do that, unfortunately. I do apologize. Okay. Let's just go. Hey, let's see. I can't send you on Twitter. I'll send you a link here. Okay. I just said like you cannot send links in this chat, unfortunately. I'm guessing you're probably not part of my Discord, are you? You're probably not part of the Discord. I'm looking for a message request from you, but I'm not seeing it, unfortunately. I think of another way that I can, like, hey George, here I'll send you this. Let's do this for you. I think this should work. Hey Darius, are you still here? Or I guess George, if you're able to, is there a comment section that's available for the stream right now or no? I don't know if there is. Is there like a comment section for the stream? Because I know there's chat, but like, is there a comment section or is that not a thing yet? Because it's not technically a video yet. Yeah, here we'll just do this instead. Hold on. Alright, I'm pulling up my own stream. Sorry if you hear double audio. I don't think so. Okay, yeah. Alright. Let's go ahead. George, can you go to my most recent video? I'll send you the link if you need it. Just chat. Okay. George, I'm gonna send you this link. It's a Trey Jones video, okay? Go ahead and post this link that you have. Post it into the comment section of this video. So that's the link to the video. It's my most recent video. Go ahead and post it in the comment section there, and then I can hopefully look at that way. I think if it doesn't take the link initially, then just like make it not a link, and then I can just copy and paste it. What's up, Bulls Nation? The Chicago Bulls. Yeah, God, I genuinely do not like the fact that on YouTube chat that you can't send links. If there's something that I would change immediately about YouTube chat, it would be that. But I don't know why it's like this. It's so stupid about it. But it's basically to prevent like bots and stuff to come on in and like, you know, spam links in your channel or something like that. Because that's happened before. For other streamers, I have seen it before. All right, let me know if that works for you, George. Let me so go to do you see this link in chat? Oh, sorry. Oh, did you get an ad? Okay, hold on. Ads are off. Sorry about that. So do you see this link in chat that my mouse is hovering right here? Like, do you see this? Yeah, okay. So click on this link. It's gonna pull up a YouTube video. It's gonna pull up this video, okay? Then what I want you then to do is scroll down to the bottom and post your link as a comment in this video, so that I can see then your link. Let me know if this works. This should work, but let me know if this works. You should maybe make it to where you can't send links if your account is brand new to prevent bots. I agree. Unless like maybe I have to like do like a stream elements thing or something to allow links, but like I have stream elements open. Like that's stream elements is active in my chat. But like YouTube itself, like even without stream elements, like YouTube will just like delete links immediately. Like people would always say like, hey, I sent a link in the chat about this, and I'm just like, I can't see it. Like it doesn't show up on my end at all. I think only the streamer can send links, but then no one else can in the chat. So I guess, oh, you know what? I could have just made George a mod. I guess that's something I could have just done. Also, my bad. Thing is, I just don't want so many mods on my channel. I already have like 2 mods that I'm just like, I don't need more, honestly. All right, let me know if this works for you, George. The one link is a shitty article from a good Greek paper. Okay, got it. I might have to go into YouTube Studio if it's a... Okay, yeah. Let me go to YouTube Studio. Hold on, one second. You might have gotten held. Let's see here. Oh, I still don't see it, unfortunately. Oh, there it is. Finally, it just showed up for me. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, here we go. Thank you for this, George. I sincerely appreciate it. Yeah. Don't sell any of my data. Cool. Confirm that. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna use Google Translate. I know it's not perfect. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. This was made July 4th. And so I know that Valanciunas is trying to get to Greece, but he still has a year left in his contract. According to Greg Portman's report, July 2nd, the Warriors abandoned trade negotiations with Bulls despite the need to strengthen the center position due to departure of Kevon Looney. Warriors, so Vooch, who was their main target so recently, is now off the Golden State's radar. And obviously, then this opens up the potential action for other teams. And we see here, this is Vucevic. And so apparently, according to this person, or this article, Vooch is reportedly attracted by the idea of returning to Europe. And because Valanciunas has also been hinting at it as well, it seems like Vucevic is also really considering this move. Release from the NBA bio hurdle dramatically increases the chances of seeing Vucevic with the red and whites and a possible super ventures to the green move with Valanciunas. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm sure this is not fully translated correctly here, but this is interesting for sure. All right, shout out to George here. This is really good information. So, this is written by, I'm sorry I can't pronounce names, but Dionysus Antonellos, Eos, don't know how to say that. I'm sorry. But seems like according to them, Vooch actually has some serious thoughts about returning to Europe, because we just saw Valanciunas is trying to also return to Europe. Now, the thing is, Denver is really trying to keep Valanciunas on their roster, because Denver basically traded Dario Saric, who was basically nothing for them, to get Valanciunas, which was a fantastic deal if Valanciunas stays, but Valanciunas has been trying to get back to Europe. So, but that seems to maybe have opened up the potential ideas for other players to return to Europe, like Vucevic. If this were to happen, then Vuce needs to agree. Vuce and the Bulls need to agree to a buyout deal. So there has to be an agreement between the Bulls and Vucevic, where Vuce is going to have to give up part of his contract from the Bulls, potentially a large amount, to, especially because it's the Bulls, to have himself be waived, and then he would then be, once he clears waivers, he would become a free agent, and then he would then have the ability to go back to Europe. But that's hard to do. I won't lie. It's pretty tough for Vuce, or any player that's currently under contract that's making a significant amount of money, to like kind of get their way out like this. I know we just saw DeAndre Ayton do it, but the Ayton situation is at a very weird spot. The Bulls have very clearly been shopping Vucevic for a long time, but nothing has come from it because AK is an idiot. So I personally would think that AK and co would not allow this to happen, and they would basically just say like, no, you have to play out your contract. But who knows, man? Maybe if Vuce is just like, yeah, I'm willing to give up like 60% of my salary for this upcoming season to just go back and just for you guys to waive me, maybe they'll accept it. That would give the Bulls a little bit more flexibility for this current offseason here. But I don't know. I feel like if this were to happen, I would hope that we would get more information soon. I kind of wish that we would have gotten information already about this, but I guess this is the only info about it, though. So, thank you so much, George. I appreciate this. I'll keep track of this a lot moving forward here. Let's see, do they have a Twitter? They do. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and just bookmark. Okay, this Twitter account is definitely interesting. So I'm not sure how much I trust this, but I'll do my research into it. I trust you, George, though. I definitely trust you. So I'll do my research into this. I probably shouldn't be showing all this on stream currently. I forgot that this is probably something I shouldn't be showing on stream. Yeah, the world's on fire. Forgot about that. Okay, so let me. I don't know what this says. If this says something bad, I do apologize. I don't know what this says though. I'm just gonna bookmark this just to make sure I have this person's this person's Twitter for me to follow about this whole information. So very clearly they write about sports. So want to make sure I have it in my pocket. And I'll keep track of this. So I appreciate this a lot, George. We'll see. Maybe Vooch does just head back to Europe here. But I don't know. I'll be very interested to see if that does happen. If he does, man, I mean, like, then the Bulls just completely have failed in just getting some sort of return of investment on him in terms of just trading him for something, which would be pretty disappointing overall. But I can definitely see this being a possibility if Vooch is just so done with the NBA life and he doesn't really see a pathway for him to get to a contending level team, but doesn't want to take it, like, it would require him to take a lot less money. But he doesn't want to do that. He could probably get more money heading out to Greece or something like that, or Europe. So I could definitely see it. I could really see it happening. But I don't know if it happens this season. That's the only thing. I think it could happen definitely after this contract is done. So 2026, sure. But I feel like it'd be pretty difficult for him to get out of this current deal. But who knows? Maybe that is a possibility. The Bulls move in silence, so that could happen. We'll see. Kind of crazy. Is that more of an indictment on AK's incompetence or just no other team wanting him? I think it's an indictment on AK's incompetence to just trade him for just something. Like, the Warriors clearly wanted him, but the Bulls just said no to multiple second-round picks, which is just insane. But I do think also, though, just like kind of where he kind of looks at his just current life, like, he's 35 this upcoming season. He'll be 36 after that. Like, how many good years does he really have? Who knows? But if he wants to go play for a contending level team, he probably won't get paid a lot, right? So I do think it's partially that the league just doesn't value a center like him that much anymore. So there's that part, but I also just think that AK has absolutely just screwed him over in terms of not moving him earlier. And if he can go and get more money playing for Greece or playing for any other team in Europe, like, I don't think that's a bad decision by him, honestly. If he just wants to get more money and play for probably, winning and more money over there. He'll probably get paid a lot more money over there than he would get paid over here, honestly. Yeah. It's not the worst thing in the world for him to do. I just don't think it would be this season, though. That's the only thing. Like, I could definitely see it next offseason, but this year, I just don't know. Like, I kind of have a hard time figuring out how he would get out of this deal. This is a lot of money. And I'm just kind of like, you would have to give up at bare minimum 50% because the Reinsers are cheap. Like, do you guys remember when Dwayne Wade tried to do a buyout with the Bulls? Like, he eventually got it, right? But like, Wade had to go up a ton of the amount of money he was getting. It was this right here. Like, Wade was getting paid, like, what was it, honestly? I think it was like 25 million? 47, 23, okay, no. Yeah, it was like 25 million. So, like, Wade had to give up 10 million-ish, around there. Maybe it was like 12. Just to get out of the contract by the Bulls. Like, the Bulls were just like hell bent, like, no, you got to give up a lot more money to get yourself waived from the squad. And obviously they did it, but like it took a bit. So, Vooch is making less than that, but I just think that the Bulls are just always so like hell bent, like, no, you got to play your contract out. So, I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate the info, George. I'll keep an eye on it. Let me know if anything changes or if you get any more info. But I'll definitely keep an eye on this. This is definitely interesting just to kind of think about because, hey, Valanciunas has kind of opened up this sort of gateway going back to Europe, and, some of like the centers like these guys could get paid a lot more over there. It seemed like Valanciunas agreed to a contract with Greece that is actually pretty good overall. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Okay, with that being said, though, I appreciate y'all tuning into the stream. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for all tuning in. Thank you for all the likes on the stream. If you have not already hit the like button, please do. Helps me out a ton here. If you are interested in any Twitch streaming stuff, this is definitely going to be happening a lot more soon here. Here's my Twitch gaming channel. I'm working on trying to get Valorant up and running on that, but for now, it's just some NBA 2K stuff right now. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and follow that. If you're interested in joining the community Discord, there is always a link in the channel, in the description box of the stream below here, but I will also post this link right now to the chat if you want to join our Discord. Appreciate everyone that has joined. It's been a lot of fun talking with you guys in the Discord. Darius is a big part of the Discord, so shout out to Darius. So Valanciunas isn't playing for Denver. It seems like Denver is going to require him to come to training camp, but Valanciunas was trying to get out of that contract. He might just have to obey to his contract, but it seemed like he was doing everything in his willpower to try to get out of it, and so he even went out and got a contract offer from Greece, but he might not be able to accept it, unfortunately. So, yeah, we'll see what does happen with it, with the Valanciunas stuff. I just think that, like, for Valanciunas and Vucevic, it might just have to sorry, they might just have to wait a year. God, that was terrible stuttering by me. They might just have to wait a year before they can get to Greece or wherever they want to go. So that either way, though, it is important to know. Like, I think that's important to just keep in mind. But Valanciunas was definitely trying to get to Greece this offseason. I just don't know if that's going to actually happen or not. We'll see. I'll be interested to see, though. It'll be fun to look at. If Vooch just kind of randomly leaves, that'd be pretty funny. I won't lie. I'd just be like, wow, all right, well, that's the end of Vucevic's career. The best free agent signing ever, Ron Harper. If you value the championships, it would be Ron Harper. I think the other one would be Pau Gasol. Like, getting Pau Gasol, I think, was pretty important overall. He obviously didn't lead to anything, but like getting a Pau Gasol, who was a two-time champion and a Hall of Fame caliber player, made multiple All-Star teams with the Bulls. Like, I think you could argue maybe it's him, But if that is the case, it's pretty sad overall. So, yeah. We are not a destination for players, huh? No, we're definitely not. Yeah, even though we are the third largest market in America, the Reinsdorfs have completely tarnished that idea of playing for the Bulls being a good thing. Yeah. Might be Boozer. I'd argue Pau Gasol was better than Boozer, personally. I know Boozer was the signing, but I think Pau Gasol was better, personally. It's also just in terms of the accomplishments. Like, again, like Pau Gasol at the time was a 2-time champion, Hall of Fame caliber player, made multiple All-Star teams. Like, I personally choose Pau, but you know, I understand it also wasn't for that long. You know, Boozer I think was here longer. I have to double check my math, but like this was the first Pau year, right? Because this year was not Pau. So we amnestied Carlos Boozer after this season. So and then this is when we officially moved on. So yeah, definitely, you know, it's up for debate, but it's bad, right? It's just like, why isn't there a superstar? I know we got Wade eventually, but he wasn't a superstar at the time. He did get amnestied. I just don't remember. Like, Pau was only here for 2 years, right? So I don't know how long Boozer was here for. How long? Yeah. So I guess it is kind of up to like if you just valued like the longer time here. My friend's parents own a apartment in Trump Tower, and they used to rent to Boozer. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's actually pretty insane, honestly. that you actually know a connection that just rented an apartment to an NBA player. That's actually pretty insane. What happened to the amnesty provision? They got rid of it. Not obviously this CBA. I think it was a couple CBAs ago they got rid of it to like not allow like what happened to Boozer to happen to that as many people. Players didn't like the fact that teams could just kind of just get rid of you and not really have any sort of, you know, problem against that. So it would give a lot more flexibility nowadays for sure. But I'm not losing sleep over it. Yeah. It is sad to look at it. So, don't know when the Bulls will ever be a free agent destination. Honestly, not sure. All right. That's gonna have to do it for me though. I do need to go and have a chat with some people. That is off stream and early in my house. So, need to go check in with some family. Appreciate y'all being here. Thank you guys so much. If you are looking for more content from me, there will be an Asenge film breakdown video coming out before the first Bulls Summer League game. So it might be Wednesday, it might be Thursday. I'm not sure which day yet, but it's gonna come out on one of those days. And then Summer League on Friday. First Bulls game is on at 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing postgame. So postgame stream at about like 9-ish around there p.m. Central Time after the first Bulls Summer League game. So looking forward to Summer League and hope to see you guys during postgame stream here. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys then. All right, peace out, y'all. Thank you for a great stream. Had a lot of fun tonight. Peace out.